from Mexico. Once again, I did not get my head cut off. The 456 trip I've made down there, I've been warned I'm going to have my head cut off on every single trip. And is it still there?
Well, they say the 57th is the charm.
Oh,
yeah,
that's it.
That's what they say.
Yeah. I mean, you could see it was awful down there with all the mussels and that big feast we had with Pauline and everything. Hey, it's great to be with you all. And exciting times we're living in here tonight. We're going to have a great show. We've got limits of white sea bass on board the Endeavor today. We just talked to Tucker McCombs a few moments ago, and you can get on an open party trip tonight. I'll give you the phone number right now. Call Saul and say hi. It's 805-676-3474. Sam, that's great news, right?
Wide open.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the day before, they had limits of white sea bass up there out of Santa Barbara Sea Landing. So a nice hit for them. You want to go get that guy?
Yeah.
Some guy's trying to bang the door down. He's in dire need for some something. But so really exciting stuff. And some of the halibut fishing that has been going on, we saw Tucker McCombs on the Endeavor, 22 halibut on the trip previous to this one. And then all kinds of great catches by private boaters. Alex Serrano, did you see the two twins fighting that fish together? It was really spectacular. Great to see that. And in addition to that, we also saw KJ from Mag 12 Swim Baits. Their first day, 4 guys fishing Santa Rosa Island, 20 halibut. So the halibut bite has been fantastic. Sam, it is really rocking right now on the halibut and the sea bass. And, you know, I've been mentioning on all my reports, we're kind of sitting on a powder keg, the same thing we see every single year. And it's roaring right now. Unfortunately, I think maybe with the weather, we'll take a step backwards, but that's what the spring is like normally. You know, you take 2 steps back, and then, you know, pretty soon you're rolling it off to the races. But great stuff, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like, for us, this is our exotics. Halibut, sea bass, yellowtail. And besides the 3 Bs there, but as exotics are a big kind of a mainstay here. I mean, the last couple of years, and rolling into this season here, kind of early even, in a way. But I can't see it not being this good here the rest of the year. It seems like that stuff up there is so good at Channel Islands.
Man, I'll tell you. Yeah, it just gets rolling up there. It's been the epicenter of the really good halibut fishing and the really good sea bass fishing for a long time now.
Yeah. I mean, and sea bass is one of those species. It's kind of, you know, like tuna fishing. You know, it's like everybody wants one. You know, kind of dreams about catching 100-pound tuna. Well, sea bass is the same way. And you know, if you just take the time to book a trip up there, it seems like the opportunity is there to get a fish of a lifetime as well.
Dropper loop, that's what Tucker likes. He just likes straight dropper loop. So
sounds to me like you probably get them however you want right now.
Yeah, definitely. And the fun thing is up there, you guys, run and gun fishing is a thing for white sea bass in the Channel Islands. And, you know, when we were out with Tucker on the Endeavor, it's friggin' exciting.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, okay, go, get in the water. You get in the water. That school doesn't stay with you. He's like, wind up, let's go. And, you know, he starts looking and finding fish. Yeah, it's really cool, man.
That's
so
cool.
Good stuff. We'll be talking bluefin tuna. We'll be taking your questions. My son, Philip, was out with Captain Chuck Taft on board the Excalibur, and it was XL Paving. So I don't know if anybody out there is from XL Paving. My son certainly is. But Philip was so proud to announce that they drank the boat completely out of beer. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, hey, you got to be happy about something. He said they had to go over to the Legend, and they were like throwing 30 packs, like, you know. And I think Chuck, like, you know, they threw, you know, 30 packs, and he goes, yeah, keep them coming. Yeah. So anyway, those guys seemed like a construction company. Like drinking a boat out of booze? I've never heard of any such a thing.
Especially when they're fishing so good.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll catch you up on Philip's observations. Had some kelp patty yellowtail, Sam, on the way back.
That's pretty promising. Yeah, we like seeing that.
Me too.
For sure.
Shows that flow upward. Ensenada, we can talk about Ensenada a little bit more. We've seen great fishing down there, except when Mackie and I are down there, then the whole bite, just like everything else. Jeff Jessup, the guy that owns the Apollo, I walked up to him after I got back from Ensenada. He goes, you know, you're kind of getting that black cloud thing going on about you. So
seems like that's been part of your program lately.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, look who I'm doing the
I better watch out.
Confessions
I better watch
with.
out.
I'm talking about I'm a black cloud. Look who I got next to me. All right, now how about I'll read a couple of comments.
Okay.
We can get into some really great fishing. I don't know what you got going on here at the tackle store, but maybe tonight we'll have like a special kind of word and maybe a discount. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll
And well, we should mention that Michael Limon is here, right? Michael, Michael, hold that bag up. Michael was demonstrating how to open that bag, and I shot some video of it.
Yeah.
How long did it take him?
Well, he was so fired up. He's going to finish the bag in like 20 minutes now.
Yeah, I know, really. And Michael, look out there. Who knows who's watching the show? You know, we're an international show, so people from Canada and Costa Rica and maybe even Ensenada, Mexico are watching.
One person in particular.
Yeah, would you like to say hello to anybody?
Hello, Paulina.
Oh, there you go. All right, very good. And she says hi. I can see her right there. See her? Hi, Paulina. Hi. Yeah, very good. All right. 540 Slinger. That is our friend Jeff Yeomans. Jeff, thank you for your service. Good evening. Phil and Sam. Isaac, good evening, everyone. Isaac, good to see you here. Sorry to hear about the chickens. We heard Dan over there mumbling about chickens and coyotes, so sorry to hear about that. Tangle Diver says hello. Steve Din says, good evening, Phil and Sam and Friedman Adventures family. Thanks again for helping me out with the guides for the 3-foot rod. Does that ring a bell with you?
Yeah, just this morning. Came in and bought a couple guides. He bought a rod at, I think he said, like Walmart or something like that. He stripped it down. He's going to rebuild it, fish inside the harbor.
Very cool.
Yeah, so he's got his guides
Did
together.
he mention that he saw me recently?
He says he sees you in his dreams every night. Yeah. And
That's Michael and Paulina.
Oh, that was Michael, yeah.
No, there's a guy named, I thought it was Steve Din. Mackie was with me. We were coming out of grocery outlet, and this guy goes, oh my God, I watch everything you do. And I thought that he said that was his name. Steve, was that you?
Sounds like Steve.
He was really nice. What's he look like? Or a handsome guy?
About that.
Is he really tall?
Yeah.
No, that's not him then.
Really good fisherman.
Yeah. I don't think Steve was really tall, though. The guy,
No,
was he?
tall.
The guy we met?
He's about that tall.
About your height?
Tall.
Yeah, it's a short
Yeah.
little guy. Yeah, just kidding. All right, Matthew Dempster. Good evening, gentlemen. Hope you guys are well, and thanks again for everything you do. Matthew, thank you. You're the man. We love you and can't do this without all of your support, and that means all of you out there. Don't forget to hit that like button, and every time you see Michael Limon eat another one of those popcorns, hit that like button again, please. It's very important to us. Robert Slagers, hey, Phil and Sam, when you are fly lining for bluefin tuna, do you prefer clear mono or colored for your mono top shot? If so, what color do we like to use? And we go fluorocarbon here at Friedman Adventures. Do you?
Sometimes.
Not
But
always.
If there was no fluoro, what would you use?
Toothpick. Yeah. I use the fluorocarbon to floss with once in a while. Yeah.
Any opinion on that?
What was the question?
About using
Well, if I don't have fluoro, then you're going to go with mono.
yeah,
of course.
clear mono or
I
colored
think
mono?
that's a preference. I don't know that that's.
You don't have a preference.
I probably would go with. I don't care. I really don't. I don't
You
think
really
it makes
don't?
a difference.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think?
I like the smoked stuff. Yeah, I do. So,
That's because
yeah.
you're old.
Yeah.
That's Smoky Andy.
Smoked. Well, they used to have that before.
Yes,
That
they
smoke
did.
green stuff,
I
the
remember.
ultra green.
I'd
but
go pink myself.
Pink was another one that I
That's
would
right.
classify as a kind of a smoke line. But my favorite at the moment is actually been quite a few years now has been that Isoline X in that smoke color. I think that's a really good line. I don't know if it gets bit more. You're right. It's kind of hard to say, but I do have a lot of confidence in it, and I have got a lot of fish on it. But if I had to use mono, and when I do, there are some times when I do, either in the heavy stuff, talking like 60-pound on up, more like 80-pound on up, I would say I use that blue Iser, just because I have a lot of feeling of it being super tough. I've caught a lot of nice fish on that. But anything, I would say 60-pound and below, I'm using that Smoke X.
All right.
Line.
That sounds good to me. And hopefully this bluefin's going to get on the bite. What's your feeling about this? Just, yay, no big deal.
Seems like every day is a little bit better.
Yeah,
when they get some
Polaris Supreme got
opportunities.
in today with 9 for on a 2-day trip,
Mhm.
which is not great, but given this year so far, yeah, it's
Yeah.
reason for some optimism, right?
I mean, for me, I was just talking to somebody about it today, and you can take it, however you want. But I feel like a few years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago, we got into the situation where the big fish are here. You got to go get them, and it was crazy. Every single boat was out there. I mean,
All getting them.
you would go out there. It was right before you came from China. I mean, that's when it was really good. but
Yeah, I've been back now for like 3 years, so come on.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It was before you came back. Yeah. But you'd go out there and there'd be like 30, 40 boats all around you every night. And they'd all be catching, It was pretty insane, I mean, up until even a couple years ago like that too. And so people got, a lot of nice fish where I've seen them all the time. People show me a big fish that they catch, and it was awesome. After a while, like we've been talking earlier or late last year and early this year, as people kind of got a little jaded. They're like, "Oh, I'm tired of this bluefin." Some of the
Yeah, I heard a lot
captains and
about that.
people like that. That oh man, I hate this bluefin. I'm so tired. I just want to go back to, not fishing bluefin, not having to do that. And I think we both commented on how maybe short sighted that is, and thinking, man, when that stuff's gone, you're really going to be hating it. Not that it's gone, but definitely showing some signs of, at least
Putting
for
a
this
scare in
year,
some people.
at least this year, maybe slowing down a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe that might only be temporary. Maybe another week and it's full speed again. But that being said, it shows us that we have no idea. We have zero idea as to why that fish is even here. Even those guys, some of those guys are like, oh, that stuff's always been here. We just never fish for it, which I don't believe.
I'm not buying that.
There's no way.
No.
There was never a boat where a crew member that was on night watch would come down and say, "Oh man, we ran over like 2 hours worth of fish last night."
Yeah.
Never happened. So to me, I feel like no, that stuff probably wasn't here, and we really don't know why. There's all kinds of theories and water and all these different things like that. But the fact of the matter is that one day I do believe that it will be gone.
I do too.
So years like this really start, at least for me, start really even making it more so. Yeah, maybe you've already caught 5 or 6 200-pounders or whatever. You've been lucky enough to be on those kinds of trips, but you may have only a chance to catch one more. Like that's it. So why not go? Why not have more anxiety? Why I better go before it's gone.
Yeah.
So to me, I feel like this is the kind of year where guys should really, really put in the most effort to try and even try things. This jigging thing. A lot of guys have been kind of putting it off because I don't know about this stuff. But I think now might be this year, the next year. Hope who knows? Might be the last chance you can catch up
for forever or maybe
your
like
lifetime.
20 years.
Yeah, depending on.
Yeah, that's pretty much like Dan and I.
Yeah,
you start talking 20 years and we're screwed.
Right.
This guy, he's going to be able to do it.
Yeah, it'll be right in his prime. But so I think that if you've ever wanted to catch them this way or that way, maybe do a 4-pack. There's a bunch of those 4-pack type charters and kind of just different ways to get them, right?
Yeah.
I think that those kinds of opportunities are going to be one day gone, and this year so far, at least shows that's a possibility. I hope it doesn't. I hope it bounces right back. I really don't know. Have no data to say.
Yeah, nobody
this
knows
or that. It's all just a feeling, but it does show that it can change.
100%, and it makes you, or it should make you more grateful for having this in the first place for as long as we've had it.
For as long as we've had it, yeah.
And it could go away.
I mean, I don't remember there being, all these El Niños that we've had in the past. We've never had a stretch of good fishing. Not only the bluefin, I mean, the Seabass. We've never had year after year after year of like 40, 50 trips a year catching limits of Seabass. I mean, at least I never heard of it ever being like that. You'd have a 1-week stretch where they'd catch them at Rocky or they'd catch them at Catalina or they'd catch them somewhere else, but never where it's just like, it seems like it's months and months and trip after trip of just limits of sea bass and all this halibut too, so I mean it definitely have pretty good fishing, so it can all go away. I mean, guys should go more, is kind of what I'm saying.
100%. Just to change the subject for a minute, we'll get back to bluefin and more questions. Mackie and I went down to the Royal Polaris. They got in for that 18-day trip, and just some random observations that are just bouncing around in my head. Number one, Frank LaPresse is 80-something years old, and he's not sitting up in the ticket. He's pushing carts. He's lifting fish. He's, come on, boys, let's work, let's go. He's got the hose. If he's not a billboard for a guy that found something he truly loved in life and did it better than anybody, I'm talking about as a businessman and everything. Man, I mean, I just looked at him and I said to myself, there's the guy that people should emulate, not
Yeah.
get into the fishing business if you don't, but find something
Right,
you really
whatever you're
like to
into.
do.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you're that way with you love this.
I think it's one of those things that I remember listening to somebody about it. I think passion, is one of those things that's kind of contagious in a way. And I think that if you are passionate about helping people, if you're passionate about building houses, whatever it is you're into,
Right.
it is somewhat contagious, and people want to be around that. I think so. Frank, I mean, he's the epitome of that in fishing for sure. I mean, he's a guy who's the most passionate about the industry and the sport, but also the industry, the things that he's developed. The guys that can truly say that without him they wouldn't have had a chance, or they wouldn't have gone as far, that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, he's a guy who's brought a lot of what we know in our Southern California sport fishing industry to come. So that's been pretty cool.
And Roy Rose, got to spend some time with him and his lovely wife and kids. And man, there's another guy, super great fisherman, man. Really, really good stuff. It's good to see Roy. And how about Daryl Shelbourne? Do you know Daryl?
I don't know him personally, but I know him.
Yeah, what a
Yeah,
gentleman.
yeah.
It was good to see him. And he had a 358.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Did you hear about the 258 or whatever he caught?
No,
How many pounds of drag do you think he fished that 258 with?
I bet you 60 pounds of drag.
70.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
6 minutes he took on that fish. I asked him, did he get any string on you at all? He said 15 yards.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, what a cool guy, a gentleman. Daryl, if you're watching, man, it was good to see you. And then there was just so many other people. And, we went on that Independence trip, so Philip had cleaned out his freezer. He had, like
yeah,
all
yeah,
the
made all the room.
whatever, turkey dinners or whatever, and threw them all out. So I called him up. He was driving down because he was jumping on the Excalibur, and I called him up and I said, "Hey, you want a couple 100 pounds of tuna and a wahoo?" And he goes, "What?" And I go, "I got a couple 100 pounds of tuna and a wahoo." Well, people on board were so kind and
Yeah.
generous that, "Hey, Phil, you want to, I love your show. You want a tuna? 100-pound tuna." So he turned it into one of the processors, and now his freezer is full.
Yeah.
So he's really, really happy. So that was really fun down there, I got to tell you. All right, where are we? I think we are with Isaac saying spring fishing heating up. It sure is. Got some squid around. I was talking to Saul up there at Ventura Sport Fishing, and he said Tucker was riding high, man. He was really, really happy. Dane, these two kids will remember that halibut forever. Did you see it?
I seen part of that video.
Pretty
Yeah,
cute.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, Alex Serrano. I don't know if he comes in here or not, but
I have to look a little closer.
he's a private boater, and he's always contributing. Alex, thank you. Your twins, your gemelos are just super kids. I think it's George and Juan. And man, I mean, they have this big halibut, and the one kid's got the rod, the other one's trying to reel. And dad says, "Come on, teamwork, teamwork." And one of the kids says, "Teamwork makes the dream work." Yeah. So it was all great stuff. Thanks, Dane. You're absolutely right about that. Christopher Navarro. He probably has my prime rib birthday cake tonight, right? Chris? Just kidding. Hey, Phil and Sam, I am Chad, Christopher, gents. I missed the start. I'm going on the El Patron with Phil on 5/9. I don't think we're on there on 5/9. Oh, wait a minute. May 9th. Yes, we are on there. May 9th. I'm sorry, Chad. Sam, what do you suggest in terms of gear, tackle, rigs? It's probably too early to say, right?
Yeah, we're still a couple weeks away here. I mean, if you're going tomorrow, it seems like you get them on anything. Oh, hold on one second.
Shallowwater rockfish. So, yeah, Chad, you'd be fishing. I would say bringing a 6-ounce torpedo all the way up to a 16-ounce because these guys can fish super deep if they want to. And probably, you're going to fish 40-pound on that. When you get into the shallows, 20, 25-pound. Sometimes that's going to be with a sliding egg sinker, half-ounce, sometimes 3/4 ounce. Sometimes you're dropper looping up there on the kelp line trying to catch halibut. So same thing. You can use that 6-ounce torpedo for dropper looping for halibut. It's just a little early to say because we have no idea what this weather is going to do. And by that, I mean, if we get sustained wind, our water is going to stay cold. But if you get that lack of wind, you start to get that solar warming, and then you're looking at calico bass, perhaps white sea bass at Catalina Island. Who knows? Maybe this is a signal, this sea bass up there. We're finally going to get a good bite back at Cat like the old days. Remember that?
Could be. It's so hard to say, I mean, for right now, I mean, all the usual stuff. I don't think there was anything that was super different this year so far. the guys that were getting them seemed like it was pretty wide open. So I mean, your 4 to 12 ounce sinkers, your Aki twist hooks, maybe some flukes. You know, I know some of those fish that I've seen on some of the reports were caught on flukes as well. So it looks like right now, if you were going right now, you can probably catch them however you want.
All right, Matthew Dempster. I'm putting stronger rings and hooks on my Sakana and Sniper jigs. Notice some have rings so small that it's hard to fit a number 7 or number 8 ultra ring. 7, number 8 hyperwire strong enough.
Yes, yes, for sure. Yeah, that number 7 is a split ring that I know a lot of the boats use to kind of re-rig people's Colt Sniper jigs. So you'd be more than good on that. If you can get the number 7 Ultra on there, excuse me, you know, if you maybe feel a little bit better about that. But I know that the regular number 7 is one that I've heard of a lot of boats catch 150 pound tuna, no problem.
All right, very, very good. Isaac says, hey, Ethan and Owen say hi to you, Michael. What are you doing? You're not playing games on your phone, are you? Oh, good. You're not doing homework, are you? Thank God. We don't want anybody doing anything like that during our show, do we? Just kidding. Scott Buchert.
You skipped a whole bunch there.
Oh, I did? Okay. Oh, shoot.
Sniper Gene.
I'm sorry. I got to go backwards then. Where? What are you looking at? Oh, Sniper Gene. Hi, Sam. Thoughts on the Akuma Rockaway SP 86 ML compared to a Phoenix Trifecta Light 903? Saw the Akuma is listed at 4 ounces.
Yeah, I think that I'd have to put them in my hands here, which maybe I will. I think the Akuma might be a little stiffer than the 903, maybe closer to the 904. So let me go grab those here real quick.
All right, and I'll read a very insightful comment from Scott Bucher while you do. Philip Jr. got drunk. Okay. How do you know, Scott? Were you there? Scott, there's an old saying. I spent 5 days with you on the Independence here recently.
Ha.
People who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Okay, Scott? You little rat fink? No, I don't care. So, yeah, probably he had a few. If they had to call the legend in for more beer, I'm guessing everybody on that trip from XL Paving had a few drinks on board the Excalibur. By the way, I got to tell you, Philip just kept going on and on and on about how funny Chuck Taft was and what a great environment he provided and the big lings and reds and everything else they caught. They had one bluefin tuna. It went to Philip's cousin Cole, who Cole hasn't been fishing that long, so it was great to see him catch that fish. Philip said, I'm definitely jealous, like a 60-pounder he caught at night on a knife jig. So congratulations, Cole, on that nice hit there. And also the rock fishing was absolutely spectacular. It was so good, and that is awesome. Hey, Cholula's Calamari and Kay just sent us a $10 bill, a super chat. We really appreciate it. He says he really loves the show. We love your support and can't thank you enough for the contribution to keep this all going. It really means a lot. All right. Let me see. I'm kind of all screwed up now. Here we go. Scott Buchert, How to Catch a Bluefin. Is that where we are? Yeah, I think so. But what are you doing? I don't even know what you're doing. What are you doing?
I'm trying to answer a question.
All right, go ahead. I'm sure it took you a long time.
I was trying to find the rod. I actually didn't find the exact rod there, but trying to compare the two rods here. We're looking at the Phoenix 903 and that 8.5 foot Kuma rod here. But the one that I found wasn't the medium light. I think he was asking for the medium light. I have the medium. And this one here is rated up to 5/8 ounces. He said listed at 4 ounces. I think he meant the overall weight of it. They're pretty similar if I had to kind of compare them based on that. This medium here, I would say, is actually a little heavier than the 903. So that medium light might be pretty close then to that. We actually have been selling a lot of these Rockaways, the SPs. The one thing that people have been asking for is they kind of want a 9-foot rod, a little bit longer rod. And so I think it's offered in 10 foot. So we actually got one for a guy. We had a customer bought one. We actually cut off a little bit off the back to kind of get the length that he wanted. But they're pretty dang close. I mean, with the way things have gone here lately and getting stuff from Phoenix, which we're still getting it in, but it does take a little longer than before. These Akuma Rockaways that really fit in really, really well, and guys have been picking them. In fact, that just reminds me, looking for that other ML. Like, I need to order some more.
All right, very good. Good to hear. I don't have the names of the people. I apologize, everybody, but some guys came down here today and dropped off clothing from Mexico.
Uh-huh.
We deeply appreciate that. And then also, what was it? A weight?
Three sets of the waders.
That's
for
very
the surf fishing.
You
Yeah.
know the name, or I don't have the name.
Right
of it.
now, yeah, I told you.
But we thank you so much. Thank you very, very, very much. You guys are making a big difference down in Mexico. Paulina is Michael's kind of fantasy girlfriend kind of thing going on. Anyway, Paulina's my co-host down in Mexico, and I had a whole bunch of clothes in the car, just full, and gave it all to her, and she took it to the Catholic Church and helped to distribute it. So
Cool.
we're working with her now in Mexico and Diego Nuno. And we're really couldn't pick two better people. I'll leave myself out. Yeah, but it was fantastic. We're really happy to have her on board. What do you think about that, Michael? Isn't that nice of Paulina?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right. Christopher Navarro says, I dodged a bullet this weekend. I had car issues and had to sell my spot on the Oceanside 95, 1.5 day trip. They caught one bonito on the troll.
Wrong attitude,
Total.
there, Chris. Wrong attitude.
Yeah, lay into them.
Yeah,
and where's
man.
my
Come on, Chris.
prime rib steak or whatever it is?
You jinxed them, Chris. That's all it was right there, man. If you would have gone on the trip, I'm sure they would have had
Wide open.
done way better. Yeah.
Woo! Look at the trip they had on the Excalibur.
Yeah.
Lingcod, reds. They had 7 yellowtail on a kelp. They what else they'd have? They
Yeah, a
had
bunch of beer.
a bluefin tuna, yeah, and mega amounts of beer. So hey, we're kidding you. All right, back to our buddy Robert Graber. Good evening, Phil and Sam, the Friedman Adventures family. Thanks, Phil, for all the 805 coverage, and special thanks to Paulina for stepping up and partnering with you to distribute donations in Mexico. Woohoo! Everybody, Robert, thank you so much. Loving the 805 coverage. We call Saul. Let us know that the Endeavor had white sea bass today, so I said, "Let's go live, Saul. Let's announce this to the world." So that was really, really awesome. And of course, they've been doing really well up there. Santa Barbara with that great hit yesterday on the white sea bass limits, and the Endeavor today limits of white sea bass. Still time, I think, to get on an open party trip tonight out of Ventura. 805-676-3474 with the one and only Tucker McCombs on the Endeavor. That's a hard rig to get on, right?
Yeah. Right now's the time. They get another couple of days of this, and it's going to be hard to get on real soon.
All right, Matthew Dempster says, on Sakana and sniper jigs, I noticed some guys run a split ring to solid ring in the front. I'm starting to read like a moron already tonight. When doing that, do you recommend same size split ring as the back, or can you get away with slightly smaller?
Yeah, you definitely can get away with something smaller. No problem with that. I think some guys are concerned with the split ring, that the knot will kind of get in between the split of the ring and possibly work its way out. But no, a lot of guys just go straight right to the to that split ring, no problem. And you can use a different size on the back. Then that's no problem.
All right, Isaac, did I tell you that Ethan and Owen said hello?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they say hello again. Scott Bukert, what a question. Just so specific. I like it when a question gets narrowed down so you can just hone in on an answer.
Yes.
How to catch bluefin tuna?
Yeah,
Yes.
it was a comment more than a question, I think.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
How to catch bluefin tuna is a comment?
Yeah. How do you catch?
Yeah, that's
That
called a
would be a
question.
question. But he said how to catch.
Yeah, well, he just left.
Yeah.
All right, are you going to answer that, or are you going to skip right over it?
There's no question there. Yeah.
That sounds like a judge in court, right? There's no question.
Yeah.
You know. All right, Scott. Tried to rephrase that. Oh, he's right back again. Army man, when they come down, I'll bring you the palomita. So Scott and Mackie was flipping out over this. There's a guy down in Ensenada, Arnie man,
Okay.
and he runs a panga. He's a super great guy. I fished with him before. I love Arnie. And he's the guy, he says, I'm eating palomitas, watching
that's right,
Tackle
that's
Shop
right.
Confession. So Scott, don't ask me how I'm on the phone with him 24 hours a day, but we're driving and he's on the speaker in the car so he can hear everything. And Scott is like almost singing like, palomitas, when I go down and I see Arnie, man, I'm going to bring him a big bag of palomitas. He's singing this like, right? It was crazy, man. All right, Scott, very good. So palomitas is the Spanish word for popcorn, in case you didn't figure that out. All right, let's see, where are we? Mackie,
Southern
deleted. Southern Alley. Good evening, Phil and Sam. Love your show. We love you more. And a shout out to my great friends at Mara Sportfishing. I got to go meet those guys down on Punta Banda, Baja California. Great team out there and excited to fish for tuna next month. Thank you so much. And I have not met the guys from Mara's, but I see they do really, really well. And I could see the customer service is really good because of testimonies like we get from you. So Mara Sport Fishing, that gives us something else we got to go down there and cover, Mackie, one of these days. Would you like to go with us and help us do that?
Yeah.
Let me see that. What are you looking at? Oh my God, does your grandfather know what you're doing? All right. Anyway, so Mara's, we got to check that
All
out
right,
one of
let's
these
go.
days. Yeah. All right. Christopher Navarro, Sam, do you carry Opsin fluorocarbon? Phil, do a shameless plug and have some spools behind him next to those jigs. So you only order that online.
Yeah.
www.opsinusa.com.
Mhm.
Put in FA at checkout, and they'll double the price of your product every single time. So there you go. There's a shameless plug. Alfonso Jr. Cervantes. Saludos, Sam.
Saludos, Alfonso.
Saludos, no a mí.
Tristemente va a ser así
Alfonso,
muchas veces.
estoy muy triste esta noche. Muy triste. Voy a llorar. Chad, at least is talking about bluefin tuna instead of albacore. Chad, hang on.
Hold me back. Hold him
Albacore forecast coming soon.
Oh, you still haven't done it?
I've done a couple,
Oh,
but
okay.
we're doing it month by month, so I haven't totally committed. Yes,
What are you gonna have people do? Rub on your bald head?
yes. Michael wants people to rub on my bald head for luck for albacore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to try? Go ahead. Oh, thank you. Right here. Can you do? All right. So, Chad, we're going to do that in like 5 days. I was talking to somebody who's going to have some more stats for me. Carlos Lagunas, Mr. Phil and Mr. Sam, I need tools for my halibut fishing trip up north in May. What's the best? Sam.
Yeah, sinkers and hooks. I mean, it's pretty basic up
Yeah.
there for that. You can get into some of these flukes, these white 7 and 8 inch flukes with some of those get some heads to go along with it. But by and large, it's going to be pretty basic 4 to 8 ounce torpedo sinker and like a size 1.0 hook up to maybe a 5.0 in that squid type hook too. So yeah, pretty basic as far as what you need for sure. But you can always add in some jigs or maybe those flukes as well.
Surging past 100 viewers as we climb to 105. Hit that like button out there,
Oh, yeah,
Sam.
let me do that.
People are loving this right now. I'm telling you. Why? I'm not quite sure, but they are. Scott Buchert's eating his palomitas, as you can see.
Good for him.
Yes, thank you, Scott. People need to prepare for life after bluefin. Life after bluefin will be very difficult, maybe. Who knows? Something will fill the void.
I think so.
Nature abhors a vacuum, so what's so funny about that? So when something like that happens,
Yeah.
something
We'll come
right?
right in. yeah.
albacore.
No.
Woohoo! There's going to be wide open blue perch in the corner, man. Lip pole and BPs, crapper snappers. I'm doing all this on no coffee tonight.
Really?
Yeah, I'm wound up tonight. I don't know
Off
why.
the coffee?
I love being around you.
Yeah.
I have no taste. Let me tell you. All right, let's see. He's right. What flavor palomitas, Scott? Mackie wants to know. Hey, that is a very good question. Scott, I didn't know there was different flavored popcorn, but obviously there is. Tony Russo, anyone for a Coronado Islands trip on Wednesday? Need a few more to get off the dock. H&M, the Liberty,
Sounds
had
like fun.
23 yellows yesterday
Really?
at the Coronado Islands. The Forkies are up there. They're in Ensenada. They're on the kelps. They've been in San Quintin for quite some time. The Pursuit had a yellowtail at Catalina Island. The Amigo and the Freedom saw fish at San Clemente Island. Damn it, Sam, there's yellows everywhere.
Really?
Not really. But, I mean, it seems like there's some progress
There's
being
more
made.
than there was last week. for
Yeah,
sure,
it's
for
definitely
sure.
headed in the right direction. 7 yellows on the kelps with my son Philip yesterday in between throwing beer back and forth
Pursuit
between
got
the
one today, I
legend.
guess. Pursuit
Yeah,
got one today.
I just mentioned that.
Oh, you did?
You don't pay attention when I
Not
talk.
really, no.
Yeah, I noticed. All right, Leonard Rivera. Good evening, gentlemen. Leonard, good to see you. I am seeing that our broadcast is back. It shimmied there just for a second. I
Yeah,
was
shimmy.
afraid I was going to have to run out there and push the button again. Leonard says, thanks, Island Tackle. Received my number 4 Mutu circle hooks. Hard to find in the Inland Empire. Sounds
Nice
like you
follow,
mailed it
Leonard.
out to this guy?
Yeah. He
Nice.
called the very next day and sent them out there. Those are going to be I think a hot commodity this year for sure.
You mean a lack of them?
Yeah.
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 How come?
Mm.
Just a supply chain thing?
Just it's been like that the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And when they get hot, everybody buys them up, and you can't find them nowhere.
Well, the question looms then, do you have them here?
I have them right now. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So people ought to load up.
I would. I mean, get yourself at least one pack. If you don't have any now, I'd get some. If you have some, you should be good. But if you go check your tackle bag and you see that you're out or almost out, just grab a pack and you're good for a while.
All right, very good. Who is next? I think it's
Edward
Everardo Rojas. Good evening. Hey, good evening to you, my friend. Good evening, Phil and Sam. Wanted to know what pound test braid and mono does Sam recommend for an avid HXW for nighttime knife jig fishing? Excelente pregunta.
For me, I'd probably just load that up with a 100-pound multicolor line. And your top shot, you could either go straight to your bite leader, 200-pound bite leader. But if you wanted to have some mono on there, I'd probably put about 25 feet of 130 on top of that, and then that to your bite leader. That 130, the reason I would do that is there are times where sometimes you want to go smaller jigs and go a little lighter. You might even tie directly to that 130. So you could either go directly from the 130 right to your jig, or if the fish are getting bigger and you want to have a bite leader, you could tie that 130 directly to your bite leader.
All right, very good. I can't figure out if Dan is like pissed at you or he's falling asleep.
He's falling asleep.
He's just kind of like, oh, he's falling asleep.
Yeah.
That tells you what our show's like, huh?
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan. Really keeps us going here. We appreciate it. Jonathan Jones says, another great show. Thank you, Jonathan. Why don't you come over down here and sit, Jonathan, so we get some inspiration? This nonsense of a guy falling asleep here. Was wondering if you had any feedback on the normal slipstream fly fish. Purchased both sizes last season. Never had any luck. P.S. Sam, you raised a fine young man.
He did. Thank you.
Sam, yeah, you. Diego, I'm assuming.
I'm sure.
How does he know Diego?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But not too much feedback. Those lures kind of came out on the market just as the kite fishing kind of went away and went into that the Mad Max fishing. So, we really haven't had a whole lot of opportunities. I know that pretty much all of 2 years ago we didn't have much of that kite fishing, and then last year the Mad Max kind of went away, and also even the kite fishing had gone away. It was more of a fly line fishing and jig fishing at night. So we'll see what this year brings, but it's something that we'll have to see. But no, we haven't had too much feedback on them, to be honest with you.
All right, very good. Mackie is sitting right here, but he has a brilliant question. Sam, what descending device do you recommend for the new law? That is an excellent question. What would really be cool is if Sam could show such a device, but I don't know that Sam is going to be able to pull that off. I mean, you just have. Oh, he's got it. Look. Oh, my God. Look at this, Dan. Yeah. Didn't we see a couple girls wearing these down in Ensenada in their ears? I thought so, as they walk by down there. All right, Sam is going to show you the descending device. There it is. Thank you, Sam. The stainless steel. Oh, Promar.
Oh, actually.
We love Promar. Steve Oropesa is a man of his word from Promar Jigs. And they obviously are into all kinds of other things like this beautiful descending device that Mackie is going to get even closer for you to see.
Yeah, I want to show that here in a second. So
the director wants you to show it now.
yes, basically how this guy works here is you can tie your line to the end of that thing, that swivel right there, there's a swivel right on top there. And then you're going to attach your weight that you need to weigh down the fish.
Now, maybe somebody else, they don't even know what we're talking about, a descending device.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll show it how it works here, and then we'll kind of
Talk about what it
it
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of how you put the weight on there. A descending device. What do you know about a descending device?
So, well, obviously, when they blow up because of the pressure change from coming from the depths, they get the bends basically.
Right.
Their eyes bulge out, and their stomach becomes distended. So they need to get back down to depth, as they call it, and then they return to normal. By the way, There was a girl, I can't remember her name, several years ago, who did studies on the eyesight of rockfish because people said there's no way they're blind after that. And when they go back to depth and they're fine. Their eyesight is good and everything
It
else.
seems kind of crazy because when you see the fish,
Yeah, it
when
looks
you bring it
like
up, there's
there's no way.
But yeah, I mean, even Steve had some video using the descender that they sell with the video, a camera, underwater camera, showing a fish coming off and just swimming away.
Mhm.
So it doesn't really say anything about eyesight, but
Right.
for sure they get down, they swim away. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I've heard all the reports and studies saying that these descending devices actually work, and
Yep.
the fish are just back to normal, I guess. So
Yeah.
so the reason you need it is that if you're gonna, let's say, not keep a fish or maybe catch a fish that you're already over limit. So let's say you've already caught your 2 reds, you drop back down, you get another red. Well, you got to release that thing, right? You already know if you just throw it back in the water, it's going to float away. So
And that's a shame.
right. So a few years ago, I mean, some of the boats were doing it to where instead of just throwing them away, basically they would put them on a descending device, and they would actually just take a rig like this. There's different ones out there, but you would put that right into the bottom lip of the fish there, right? And then they'd send it down, and then as it would get to the depth, maybe 300 feet or whatever, they would let it go, or maybe hit the bottom, and then wind back up, and it gets released, comes
Yeah.
right off. So that's really how it works. It's really easy. One of the things that kind of arises, especially for private boaters, is those guys are fishing smaller rocks, smaller spots. And so let's say you drop down, you get 2 fish on your 2 hook rig here, and let's just say they're both short, or let's say one of them's good or one of them's short. That not short, but meaning you don't want to keep it. You don't want to keep it. You're gonna release it so that you can keep a bigger fish. Well, you're going to have to descend that fish. Now, as the rules are now, the law is that every single boat has to have one of these descending devices, not only on the boat, but actually ready to, like, rigged up, ready to fish. So it has to be on a rod. So if a boat comes and checks you out, or the fishing game comes and checks you out, and you don't have one rigged up, you can get cited for that. Which in a way kind of makes sense. I mean, you have to be able to release that thing right away. You can't release it when you get back to the dock,
Yeah, right.
So if you're not using it, if you don't have it on your rod, then you're not using it, and that's the whole thing, is they want you to be using it. So one of the things that happens with private boaters a lot of times when they're fishing a smaller spot is that you go down, you get your fish, you bring them back up, and you think, oh man, I want to release this guy. Well, then you got to send it down, and by the time you send it back down, wind
it back up.
wind it back up, send your good rig down.
You're off the rock.
You're off the spot. So the way they kind of set this descending device is that you can kind of just use it as a connector to your sinker. You're going to use a sinker anyway to get down. So if you just put it at the bottom of your rig, and you say same thing, you bring the fish up, and Steve even put 2 small rockfish on here, which that's what you'd be using it for primarily, is to release small fish. But he put 2 on here, descended them all the way down, and then basically shook them off, and now you're fishing again, so you don't waste time.
That's great.
Yeah,
I think it's a
so
great idea.
even on a sport boat, let's just say, you get a couple of little starry eyes or whatever, and you're like, man, I don't want to keep these things. Rather than just throwing them over, which I know a lot of us will probably have done over the years, you could put it on your descending device, send it right back down, you're fishing again anyway. So to me, it's probably a smart thing to do. I'm sure it's not going to be required for every single rod to have one, but definitely the boat has to have one. And if you're on a private boat, you got to have one for sure.
Yeah.
So why not have it already rigged up on your rod rather than having to have a whole nother rod rigged up with the rig? Because sometimes even that alone is a deterrent from even doing rock fishing. Is I don't want to have a whole nother separate rod.
Yeah.
You're already kind of tied.
This is a great answer.
Ooh, watch out.
That was a magnificent question from Mackie.
Yeah. Best of the night.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just, I mean,
by far.
When you were whispering to me, why is he even here? What does he do?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he comes through with that question.
With a gem, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, incredible.
Redeems himself. Beautiful. James Williams, fishing mimics life. It's always changing. So when you have
it all going
when you have it all going in the right direction, you better enjoy it.
That's right.
I remember when 17-pound largemouth was almost common. I also remember those albacore Phil loves. James is absolutely right, man. He makes a great point there, right? And that's the point you're trying to make about these bluefin tuna, man.
Yeah.
Better enjoy it while it's here.
Yeah. I mean, if that's kind of what you're into, but the sea bass fishing, it's another one too. I mean, this is another one where it seems like right now the way they catch them, it's like there's no end to them. Like they're going to be catching these forever. But that's just not the case. It just hasn't been the case in the past. I've never seen it like this consistent year after year after year. So if you haven't got on one of those sea bass bites, I strongly recommend making a reservation up there. And like you're saying, there's spots open tonight.
Yeah.
We got weather coming this weekend. If you can go tonight
Oh
or
my
tomorrow
God,
night,
go for it.
go. You get your sea bass.
Endeavor tonight, 805-676-3474. Anonymous. Sam, what is the shelf life on braided line if you store them at home?
Forever. It does not break down like monofilament or to get memory or nothing like that. So if it's
Do you-
just being stored, you'll last forever.
In a shaded area, or is that
I'm
not
gonna think-
important?
Yeah,
Doesn't
I mean,
matter.
yeah, you probably don't want to have it somewhere where it's exposed to the elements like rain and things like that, like sun. Like I wouldn't put it in the backyard and bury it or nothing like that. But anywhere inside your garage, the heat's not going to mess it up like it would monofilament.
All right, very good. Tons of questions coming in. Well over 100 people watching the show. Sam, you are a star. Let me tell you that right now.
Star?
No one else is going to tell you
No,
that,
yeah.
so I might as well. All right, Dan Lightfoot. He woke up and he has a question. Opsin fluorocarbon is the best. Oh, it was a statement.
It's a statement.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you, Dan.
James.
Oh, that's this guy. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Paulina doesn't like Opsin.
Yeah, she said it's no good.
Yeah. Do you still think it's the best?
Yeah.
Oh, Paulina, screw you with your whatever you use. All right. Rob S. Sam, do you have an online option and shipping home address for gear?
Yeah, free shipping. Yeah, that's what he's asking too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
We do have a website. It's not really doesn't really have a whole lot on there, to be honest with you. I mean, so no, we really don't have an online option. You can definitely call the shop, or you can send me a message on social media or an email, and usually we can get back to you pretty quickly. So and we have most everything as far as our Southern California market. I'm not going to have things that if you're looking for something really different or new or something like that, that's not really Southern California oriented. But we have all the fluorocarbon, all the hooks, all the jigs, all the stuff that we use down here. So you can send me a message, and we do ship maybe 3 or 4 packages a week for guys that do that. But I don't have a online option. I think you missed one guy too, James.
Okay, I'll go
He's at
back.
the very top right there.
Yes, okay, very good. Boy, I could use that coffee right now.
It's
A little
trying
bit.
to catch up to you.
Not much. I look out there and I get sleepy,
Yeah,
man.
it's
See-
contagious.
Oh, geez, that looks good. James Williams, what are your options on opinions? Sorry about that. On Max Quattro braid and matching line size as opposed to 80-pound with a 40-pound top shot. I've heard this is the new hot braid Max Quattro.
Not really. I mean, as far as it being the new hot braid, it's been around for a while. But some guys do like it. It's thinner. It really has, I think, in my opinion, more of a place when you're using maybe a smaller than normal size reel, and you want to get a little bit more line on there. It's about 25% thinner. In my opinion, it hasn't been the same strength as the normal size. So if you compare 80-pound regular Power Pro to 80-pound Max Quattro, just been my experience. It doesn't seem to be as maybe not strength. It shouldn't be the right word. Maybe not as tough. It doesn't do as well as far as abrasion resistance and things like that. So depending on what you're using it for, it may be what you want to use. Especially with some of these smaller bait casters now, that they got so much drag. That's probably one of the best places for it. But I wouldn't, make a blanket statement, say, oh yeah, you got to change the RE line to the Max Quattro. You're missing out if you're not doing that. So yeah, that's not how I would characterize it. With 40-pound top shot, I normally would be using 50 or 65. The 80-pound would be a little bit big as far as matching it up, and as far as using the same line matching. So if you're using, let's say, 80-pound top shot, I probably wouldn't match that up with 80-pound Max Quattro. That stuff's pretty thin. And in fact, I usually go one size up on the braid anyway. So if I was using, let's say, 40-pound top shot, I'd go at least 50-pound on the braid. And if it was the Max Quattro, I'd probably go at least 65 on that. So it is nice line. It is thinner, so you do get more on your reel. But that really only matters when you need to have more on your reel. So there's times where maybe, like, let's say on a JX or something like that, you want to fish 80-pound braid. And if you put standard 80-pound on there, you just won't get that much. You'll get like less than 300 yards or something like that. Whereas that 80-pound Max Quattro, you might get like 350 or 400 yards. So that'd be the time to use it. Is when you're just using maybe a smaller than normal reel to get more line on it.
All right, Chad Christopher, thanks for the info, gents. Yes, Phil, 5'9", 5 a.m. on the El Patron. I'm bringing the donuts. Hey, Chad, you're number one. May the fishing gods be in our favor. I've never caught a ling. Hope to add that to my list. Let's make that happen, Chad, for sure. Anthony, what do you think of the Catsking Capson 8000?
I'm not that familiar with that brand, so I'm not.
What is
I'm
it?
not really sure.
Fishing rod or?
I'm assuming it's a spinning reel.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure.
Okay, yeah, an
Yeah.
8000. Yeah. All right, we'll look into that for next time. Michael Limon says, Pauline is a great person I ever met. Sorry, Phil.
Yeah.
The greatest person you ever met?
Back
You haven't
that
met
up.
her. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I met her at the
Oh,
trail.
hey, you did,
Yeah.
didn't you? I forgot. Yeah. Yeah, she is the greatest person you ever met.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right?
Pretty long
Dan?
list too.
Better get this guy under control, man. He's going to be across the border tonight. You know? Hey, Ensenada? Yeah. All right. Let's see.
Chris Pro.
What's
Oh,
that? No, Cholulas,
Yeah.
calamari, and kayak. Rental suit sent us $10 tonight. Thank you again for that. We really appreciate that. What pound of braid should I put on my Penn Slammer DX 6500 with the Phoenix 909H for throwing irons? Notice there's no number too long for a guy that sends us a $10 bill. I'll go through those with great and precise, whatever it is.
Dictation.
Anytime. Yes, go ahead. Your turn.
I'd say 65 pound on that thing there. It's a pretty good size reel, that Slammer 6500, and 65 in case you're gonna run into some bigger fish too. That 909H isn't the heaviest rod, so you might even be able to fish 50 pound if you're doing some more like barracuda fishing or something like that. But that 6500 reel has a lot of capabilities, so you might want to put some 65 on it just in case.
All right, Chris Pro. Hey, guys. How's it going? Phil, looking forward to our May 9th trip, but I don't know what gear to take. Could you guys let me know? Never been rock fishing before. So let's assume we're going rock fishing.
Right.
What would you tell him? And Chris, Chad's bringing the donuts.
So you probably can start off by bringing some of these 2-hook rigs. Like this is actually one from Promar. They call it a squirt. So there's guys like this that are already kind of tied up, double dropper loop style thing, and they'll have a clip on the end. You don't have to have the descending device on that specific trip, but you would just clip your sinker right to the end of that thing there. So you can buy some of these already pre-made, or they have some other rigs like that are just plain hooks, no squids on them. Or you could just bring hooks themselves, maybe from size 2 to 2.0. Somewhat thinner wire, like an owner SSW would be good. And your sinkers. Your sinkers can be anything from 6 ounces to 20 ounces. It really depends on the wind and the current, how fast you're drifting, something like that. I'd also, if it was me, I probably would bring some knife jigs, some things like that to kind of fish the bottom. And with the limits of where we are these days, there's really no rush to try to get all your fish on 2 drops, So that knife jig fishing might be a little bit of fun too, slow pitch style stuff, if you have some of that stuff. But if you don't have a slow pitch rod and reel, I would just bring something like a bass rod, something that has some lighter weight braid, something like 30-pound braid, 50 at the most, but 30-pound braid preferably, with some of those maybe 250 to 350 size knife jigs. Throw that in there.
Perfect. Michael Limon, sitting right behind us, would like to know what your favorite lure for Bacaruda is.
Yeah, probably a killer jig. Killer jig.
Killer jigs are good.
Yeah, P5 killer jig. It's probably one of my favorite ones. Tatty C single hook jig, another one that's really, really good. Those barracuda, they can be picky at times. Sometimes they want a smaller jig, maybe like a AA light. Sometimes they want a bigger jig, like a 45. So it's one of those fish that even though that when you're catching them, they're maybe not a huge market value, nothing like that, but they can be kind of tricky. So, I would take a variety of jigs, but anything from a AA light all the way to a 45. And I'll mix it up, when you find the right combination, yeah, they really kind of jump on them too. And it seems like when you do that as well, you'll catch them when nobody else does, but you kind of have to kind of figure them out. Sometimes they bite wide open, but not always.
DJB just sent us $50.
Wow, he must.
I take my hat off to you. He says it's for the margaritas.
He probably hit that 0 one too many times.
Thank you so much. He said it was for the margaritas. I took good care of him. I was the bartender on the
yes,
Independence. And anytime he wanted a margarita,
You're on.
I was there to pour a beautifully tasting margarita. I
Very
was
good.
great. Scott supplied the booze. DJ B was, man, he was such a nice guy to fish with, and we traded chairs all the time. He'd be sitting in my chair, and I'd come out. He'd be, oh, look, no, don't worry about it, So great guy, and $50. Thank you so very much. That means the world to us here. So really appreciate that. All right, where are we now? We got Paulina's a great person.
AJ.
We got that. Oh yeah, AJ. How about the weather though? Bipolar.
I know, huh? Up and down.
Pretty much like typical springtime
Yeah,
wind.
yeah.
I mean,
Anytime we get any wind, it's like the worst, So I think that right now we're just kind of going through that typical winter. And this last couple winters have been a little bit windier, a little bit colder, but the summers have kind of like evened it out. So I mean, 4 or 5 years ago, once again, before you came back from China, it was sunny all
well, I
day.
get
every
blamed
day.
for everything.
Yeah, it was sunny all day. We've had
There was no wind in the spring.
3 months of just straight beautiful weather. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, the birds were singing, the flowers were blooming. It was paradise. And then all of a sudden, a gray cloud started to come through, and the wind came.
Dan's laughing. He's getting
Yep.
even with me for all the jokes I've been cracking now
we
with the
were,
laugh.
we were crying about we didn't get no rain. There was the drought. All of the lakes were
You
drying
want me to
up.
go back to China?
Not me, the weather.
All right. Well, I can go back if you really want me
Give it a
to.
shot,
I'll tell you.
How long were you gone?
3 years.
See, it only take you 3 years.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah, fix
Then
that.
I can reset the weather.
Reset the weather.
Perfect. I'll see if they're still got my school going over
We
there or
got like
not.
10 more likes just on that.
Yeah. Whoa! Look at that. Another 150 people watching. All right. Michael Limon says, Sam, what do you think about the new law regarding reds?
I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't think that it's something that's going to really help out the population too much, as much as I'm sure that they've figured out. And I know there's a lot of science behind it and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know if there is. I don't think they can
I'm sure
afford it.
there's some science. There's got to be.
There's
there's got to be something
best
in the
available
reports.
science.
Yeah.
Is what you
On
call
the other
it.
side of it too, it's also something that shows that our lack of participation in the CCA and our lack of participation in those types of processes is now showing too. We never get upset until it's too late. But yeah, I'm not a huge proponent of it. I think that there's definitely better ways to solve that issue if it was an issue. But that's what we're kind of the card we've been dealt here.
Yep. All right. Very good question, Michael. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tim Knott wants to know, Phil, where are the albacore? They're coming, Tim. They're out there. They're swimming. July is normally when they show up. We're going to have them in June this year. I don't know where they are. Tom Holland updates me almost every day. The South Pacific guys. I think they caught some fish on the urban bank.
Oh yeah, that's like 1,800 miles away.
Yeah, it's not that far. It's like,
What do they assume? Like
they got the first bluefin tuna in Taiwan. Did you
30
see
miles
that?
a day.
Did you see that breaking news?
Yeah,
story?
I heard they're all going that way now.
My brother
Yeah.
broke that story to me. First one, and it's huge. It is like a huge thing in Taiwan.
bet.
When they get there's crowds and they got the thing. It sold for $95,000. First
I
one.
heard they called you the tuna magnet.
They follow me over there.
You were turned around the wrong side though.
Yeah, really. Sam's being very nasty tonight. I'm gonna have to hit him over the head with a sugar-free Snapple. All right, Frankie Sanchez, evening, fella. Sam, how much do you charge to spool a reel? Does it usually depend on the line?
Yeah, so what we're going to charge is by the yard, and so in every line is different, So that can vary from monofilament 2-pound test to 200-pound hollow. I mean, it could be $2 or it could be $200. I mean, it definitely a lot of variance in the size of reel and the kind of line you put on.
All right, Sal Nunez. Sal, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight, pal. And Sam, greetings from Paris, California. Looking forward to getting out on the water this year. Cheers. Yeah, man. Everybody's looking forward to it. Emmanuel Navedo from Florida says, good evening, Emmanuel. Always good to see you, my friend. Leonard Rivera. Sam, when tied correctly, is an FG knot strong enough to connect fluorocarbon or mono to braid with heavier line, say 80 to 100 pounds?
No problem at all. I've actually seen it catch several big fish, several cow yellowfin tuna. And a lot of the guys that I've seen tie it are guys that are really, really good fishermen that wouldn't tie it unless they had a lot of faith in it. So To me, no problem with that. Like you said, if it's tied correctly. I don't know if it's a knot that is easy to tie. I mean, well, I know it's not a knot that's easy to tie, but like anything else, once you kind of practice it a little bit and get it down, it's not too bad. But yeah, the guys that I've seen use it have done really, really well on it.
All right, very good. Excellent question and a pretty good answer. Muscle manuals.
Yeah,
All right, J Bay, I think, right? Is that where we're at?
that's
Yes.
where we're at, JB.
J Bay, nice show, boys. Thank you so much. All three of you, always a pleasure. Hopefully, this other round of South Swells coming the start of May can really swing things in gear. That South Swell makes a big difference. And we had a little bit of that here recently, and we see these yellows. Um, Anytime you get that condition, it's a good one for
Yeah.
Southern California.
Well, this is the time of year, right? Transition time where we're kind of anxious to get out of the wintertime mode and start seeing some of the sprinkling of like some summertime, like activity. I know the Pursuits had some pretty good service activity, a lot of bonita and some bass, barracuda, and that yellowtail they got today. So things that's stuff like that's real good. And said there was yellowtail on the kelp patties. So that's another thing too. That's kind of a strong sign of the wintertime kind of going away and the springtime bringing us to summer.
All right, J Bay. Lindsay V. I think that might be Mackie's lovely wife. Lindsay, thank you so much for checking in. Hi, guys. Great show. You got to start getting Mackie practicing his Spanish for your next trip. Yes, Mackie. Mackie, ¿cómo estás?
Yeah.
Oy, oy,
Yes.
oy. Terrible,
It's gonna be a
¿verdad?
long road. Yeah.
We're working on it, Lindsay. Hola, hola, Mackie. Hola, hola.
There you go.
Hola,
There's one.
hola.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Bien.
Ah, qué bueno, mira, ese chiquito habla español mejor que este, whatever he is. I don't want to say, I almost said
Yeah.
pendejo. I just said pendejo. Okay. Hey, Lindsay, thanks. Christopher Navarro, Phil, you got to go to Albacore Fly Line Rig.
What's your go-to?
What's my go-to? You just tie a hook on and
I know.
fly line a bait, man. My brother and I used to laugh. We get on the searcher. We were both like on there every single day in the summertime. Frank LaPresta was running the boat. There was all kinds of great deckhands, Leroy, Norm Kagawa, and these guys come down with these wooden tackle boxes. They're struggling to get up the stairs, and here you go. They put them. And my brother and I'd laugh, and we go, "We got our freaking tackle box in our pocket." Some hooks and some rubber core sinkers in those days, or sliding egg, and that's all you needed for
Yeah,
albacore, pretty much. And you can overcomplicate it and do a whole bunch of other stuff, but pretty much
Pretty
day in
easy
and
to
day
catch,
out.
right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm starting to get an idea of why you want these albacore to come back so bad.
Yeah, I want you to have a chance to catch something.
I've caught plenty.
Me
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, they're really easy to catch. But now I'm getting to think
Look,
why you want them back.
You're
so
trying to
bad.
tell me that they're really easy to catch. You drop down a piece of iron and go like this, and then you're onto a bluefin, and you wind it up, and
Yeah.
a guy sticks a gap in it. I can't think of anything more easy than that. What are you talking about?
That's also easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as easy.
It's all. Oh my God, we're getting more money sent to
Oh
us
my
tonight.
goodness.
I am going to stay. I don't care what Sam says about me going to China, and the weather will improve and everything else. These monetary donations that we're getting, I'm going to scan down and give this guy Chris Navarro
Woo.
with a $20 bill. Chris, thank you so much. DJB $50. The calamari kayak guy $10. I'm not
Wow,
going
loaded.
anywhere, Sam. Gosh
getting-
darn it.
We're gonna eat good tonight.
Yeah, except I got to get out of here. That's why I made the burritos. All right, let's go back to where are we going?
You don't have to stay, Phil.
Yeah. Where are we? Come on. Oh, here we are.
Give us
Okay,
this.
we got it. What's the update on Yellowtail
At Catalina.
at Catalina? Where does it say that?
Right
Oh,
there.
at Catalina.
Yeah.
So Pursuit had one today. They've seen a little bit of fish bouncing around there, but
Mhm.
not a big volume of fish. Don't anticipate any huge hits, but it wouldn't surprise me to scratch out a fish or two or three or four. Clementi's had some fish, and Santa Barbara Island has had some fish also. So there's a little bit going on down at the Coronado Islands, right outside of San Diego. A stone's throw, basically, from Point Loma to get to Pukey Point, which is North Island. There's been yellows pretty much from there all the way to the middle grounds, South Island, South Kelp Ridge. That whole zone down to the pile, rock pile that is, has had some yellows on it and improving conditions. The Liberty had 20-something yellows down there. So we can see the progression moving up, and hopefully it's going to continue. Rob S. Phil, how do I get in Pro-Am with Todd? So you're talking about Todd Woods. Todd Woods. Rob, if you have my phone number, send me a message. I'll hook you up with Todd. I think he can make that happen for you. So 657 227 6459. Here we go. It's Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Ducks a go. Hey, Sam, the Pongeros are whacking them. Yellows. What would I need to bring going to Ensenada? Do I need to bring anything from the U.S. or do they have it down there at the tackle stores? I can answer that question because I know. So can I just, you can handle the tackle part, but you want to swing by Island Fishing Tqckle, and Michael Limon's going to leave a dozen roses and take those with you, and then go over to Botes Juanitos, find Paulina, and give them to her from Michael. Yes, yes. Go ahead, Sam.
So yeah, as far as the tackle, it really depends on the operation you're going with. I know some of those guys have some tackle, but to be on the safe side, most of the guys that come through here and go down there fish those yellowtail have been taking some Rapalas, X-Rap 20s, X-Rap 30s, sardine, mackerel colors, stuff like that. As far as a troll, I wouldn't take a whole bunch of them. Maybe take one of each. You should be pretty good for a couple days of fishing. Also, some yo-yo iron, yo-yo rigs, and then maybe if you have it, like a surface iron rig. So probably more the yo-yo iron is going to be more necessary. I think you'd probably be able to catch fish on that for sure. But if you wanted to have some fun and take something of a surface type of deal, maybe some Tatty 45s on the yo-yo stuff, some Tatty 40s would be good, something like that. But definitely having those trolling lures, those X-Rap 20s, X-Rap 30s.
So Brandon, this guy that just asked the question, put me on these guys from Delphine Sportfishing who had a quadruple jig strike on the troll Rapala. So I ran that on the morning briefing. Thank you, Brandon, for doing that. Really, really appreciate that. That was good stuff, wasn't it, Michael? Yeah.
That's
there you
right.
go. All right. Live free or die free. Evening, Sam and Phil. Hello, Friedman Adventures family. Nate Sal says, good evening. Jonathan Jones thought Michael was Sam's son. I guess the camera takes off years. Oh, he is a fine young man, though.
He is.
Yes. Michael, you're a fine young man.
Yes.
Michael, you are. Yes, you really are a fine young man. All right. Let's see. We've got N6 Yuan. Let's see. That is Steve Bermudez, by the way. And you don't have to send the fish down to the depth that you took him only over about 100 feet.
Yeah, but you're right, for sure. As far as sending them back down, to be safe, you probably want to take them down to maybe 200 feet. I know a lot of the boats will take them 200, 300 feet down as far as taking them down to release. But doing the other rig where you have it already on your rig that you're going to fish, you just basically go down to where you're going to fish already and you're good to go. But you're right, 100 feet at least, for sure. I'm not sure what the rule is. I know that there is something to have to do with how deep they start out at as to how far back they have to go down. Like if you started at 150 feet, you probably would have to take them all the way down. But if you started at 400 feet, maybe not all the way down. But, I would say just put it on your rig already that you're fishing, and you're still not wasting any time that way.
100,000 people watching now. Thank you so very much. Hit that like button. We deeply appreciate it when you do that. And there's a share button. You can share this show with a friend right now, or even an enemy. We really don't care, do we? Just
Not
as long
really.
as we get a like out of it. Yes. Brandon is back again saying, I'm going to end up getting bit on a bluefin tuna, sending that rockfish down, laughing my you-know-what off. Now, that would be Friedman Adventures morning briefing report worthy. It would.
I wouldn't doubt it, actually. A few years ago, fishing down at Potato Bank, there's these, they're not rockfish. I mean, they kind of are like a rockfish. They live on the bottom, and we're about 200 feet deep over there, 250 feet deep. And one of the guys snagged one up on a sabiki, and it looked like a rockfish, those gray looking thing like that. And he fly lined it, and it went swimming back down, and he got a 200-pound tuna on it. So I'm sure those rockfish eat. I'm sure the bluefin eat rockfish for sure.
Have to be an awfully big rockfish to eat a bluefin.
Yes.
Yes, I caught you there.
Or a really little bluefin.
Yes, that's true. All right, Steve. Steve, are you the guy I met at Grocery Outlet? You haven't answered that question. You can tell me I'm crazy. Don't worry.
That was Omar.
Oh, yeah, that was Omar. Where is Omar, man? He should be here. Steve says, going to book a trip on the Endeavor for tomorrow. Thank you. Say hi to Saul for me. He's a great guy. And say hi to Tucker when you get on board. That would be absolutely fantastic. Isaac heard that Osman Opson was working with fishing reps to start selling at tackle shops.
Yeah, I think they are. I think the Fishing Reps is a rep group, and I think they're going to start promoting them.
Carlos Lagunas, wow, thanks for the info. Didn't know we have to have a descending device. So that's private boaters. On the sport boats, they're responsible for having it, correct?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. But if you're a private boater, man, this thing's
Not
beautiful.
Not only do you have to have it on your boat, you have to have it rigged up. So don't just buy them and throw them in your tackle box. You can still get cited for basically not having rigged up.
And I guess if you want to be a conscientious guy
You
on a
should.
sport boat, you could have it, right?
Yeah,
And then
like I said, it's so easy to do.
yeah,
And in that way too, you don't even have to walk. If you're fishing the bow or something like that, or the crew's busy.
yeah,
or
you don't
whatever,
have to.
just put it right on the descender and just go right back down.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Cue ball.
Yeah. Well, as long as your sinker is heavy enough. So
Dan's asking, does any size fish
Yeah.
work, even the little ones?
yeah, oh for sure. That's usually what they're going to use it for.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, even if you wanted to put let's say you already got your salmon grouper that you wanted, and you get a big salmon grouper, you can send that back down. The only limitation would be if you get something real big, like a 20-pound cow cod or something like that, and its swim bladder was super big. This may not be enough weight to sink it. That'd be the only limitation. But you just put a bigger weight on it to sink it.
All right, very good. Cue ball says, hi, everybody. Hi, Phil and Sam, DJB. Phil, it was great to meet you and your son on the Independence. The Tuna were missing in action, but the good times were wide open. I got to tell you, he was a super good guy. Thank you, DJB. I really appreciate it. We had such a good time. It's amazing to think you can go on a 5-day trip and catch virtually nothing until the last day and have a great time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much fun. And this guy made it that way. Thank you so much. And thank you again for your incredible super chat tonight of $50. We really appreciate that. All right, Steve Bermuda says, you need a close-up camera on the table.
I know, you do.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Yeah.
How
Mackey's
many-
working on
How
it.
many cameras are you going to have next time?
I'm not in charge of that. He
Oh, you're
is.
not,
Yeah.
huh?
No,
Okay.
he's out there trying to learn Spanish, so it's up to him. All right, so very good. Thank you, Steve. We will work on that. James Blanchard, we'll get the lights and everything. Who was the guy
Yeah.
that came in there?
You can.
Yeah, who is
Yeah.
now? He's
High,
with Okuma, right?
high level professional.
Yeah, right. So
Very
he had the
high.
lights and everything.
Lights.
See, Mackie,
cameras.
he's taking a shot at you here.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
You listen to this?
3 or 4 mics.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
yeah,
this
it was
is
pretty good.
Well, you got 2 mics.
Light
What are you talking
meters.
about?
I mean, it was impressive.
What's the guy's name?
That was Benji Kim.
Benji, we love you.
Yeah.
There you are. All right. Well, let's see. Where are we? Oh, James Blanchard. Hi, Sam. What size braid should I put on my Tranks? 300 HG, 400 HG.
So it really depends on what kind of fishing you're going to be doing, but the most common on those 2 reels is going to be 30-pound braid and 50-pound braid, and then you'll put a top shot depending on what you're going to use it after that. In this rock fishing, that's kind of been a thing here that we've been part of our conversation a lot lately. I probably would put 20-pound and 30-pound on those 2 for that specific thing. But day in, day out, 30-pound and 50-pound on those 2 are going to handle pretty much anything you want to do.
Beautiful. Hey, would you mind if Michael Limon stood up and gave a report on his most recent trip on the Monte Carlo? He wanted to do that. Stand up, Michael. Let me mic you up. Since we don't have 4 mics, yeah. There you go.
So we were using size 2 hooks, right? Right, Grandpa? Size 2 hooks.
All right, you're done.
With a 10-ounce sinker, light bait to catch the salmon grouper, and it's kind of like the same setup for the reds and rockfish with stripped squid. That's how we were getting them. We had like 74 people on the boat. There was this guy. He had a hook bigger than his fish that he was catching. He was from Ensenada. His fish were like that big, kind of like my grandpa's fish.
Why didn't you try to get a ride with the guy from Ensenada back to Ensenada?
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of rental rods, so Brian was like, "Oh, it's like a day of tangos now." There was a lot of people on that boat.
So what was the trick to catching the salmon grouper? You figured it out, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the deckhand on the Monte Carlo, he told me, "Here, cut this hook off, put a live bait on it, cast it out, drop it, let it sink down, and do like 5 or 10 cranks off of the bottom, you'll get bit like that. So it basically allows the trip we were just keep on moving. The breakfast burritos never.
Dude, the breakfast burrito guy's gonna hit you over the head the next
Yeah.
time he
Yeah.
sees you. All right, is that it?
Yep.
Well, that was
Alrighty.
excellent, Michael. That was a great report. What do you call that? A first-hand update?
Yes.
Yes.
First-hand update.
Yeah, something like that,
On
right?
the water report.
All right, on the water report, except Michael's not on the water.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Christopher Navarro, Sam, when sea bass fishing, what size hook are you using for live squid Aki twist?
Yeah, that'd be the Aki twist hook. You know, anywhere from 4.0 to 7.0 is your common sizes. It kind of depends on how big the squid are, but 5.0, 6 will probably be in your most common. If you're going to take one size, I'd probably take 5.0.
I think it's wonderful, Mackie, that your lovely wife tuned in tonight. I think it's
Pretty cool.
fantastic. And she's going to get you, she speaks good Spanish, right?
Yeah.
All right. Hablando español contigo. Okay, very good. Christopher Navarro. Well, we already got his question, so let's move on to Chad Christopher. Chris Pro, see you on the 9th. El Patron, yes, donuts on me. If you have any jigs to lend, we're a fishing family. There you go.
There you go.
Chris Hensley. Yoo-hoo! Evening, guys. Hey, Chris, good to see you. Whoops. Let me get down here again.
Rob S.
Rob S. Do you see? Oh, is it? Yeah. I inherited GC Lure Company lures. They work well. Sam, do you sell them or have them in stock?
No, yeah, they haven't made those lures in probably 15 years or 20 years.
GC Lures. What are
Yeah,
they?
GC Lure Company. I mean, the ones that were the most common, they were kind of like a round lure that kind of had these offset edges on each end. Back in the day, they were really good on barracuda fishing, you know, bonita fishing, things like that. But it was basically just a metal jig, but it was kind of a long shape, and it had kind of offset cuts on each end.
Yeah. By the way, Daryl Shelburne, who had the 358-pound yellowfin tuna, said he only fishes one jig for big tuna. You know what it was?
PL68.
Yeah. Is that a good?
Yeah.
I never knew that was a good jig. You always think of that as like a rock cut jig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's a good tuna jig. That's probably one of the best tuna jigs.
He thinks it is.
Caught a lot of bluefin on it, yellowfin on it. Yeah. It's a good one.
PL68. That's Salis, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Let's see. We go now to Raul Almaraz. Phil, Sam, good evening. So I just picked up my MXJ Raptor and pairing it up with Titlefish Junior. What line do you recommend, Sam?
Probably fill that up with some 50-pound braid. Fill it to the top.
Kai Fish Killer, my buddy is trying some CNC jigs. What is the typical metals are used in yo-yo?
Zinc.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
That's an excellent answer.
I know some of the CNC guys will do brass and they'll cut it up. It's pretty expensive though, you know, but those guys that are pouring it, there's a die cast to zinc alloy. I'm not sure the exact metallurgy of it, you know, but that's the basic biggest part of it is zinc.
All right. Perhaps not. I got a 2-day trip on the Pacific Queen going out this Saturday. What are the chances on the bluefin tuna? Sounds like there's some weather this weekend, right?
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it myself, so I don't know. Is that weather for the whole coast? I bet
I
it
don't
is,
know.
right?
Yeah, probably.
Sounded like
yeah.
crapola.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, they've been catching them every day. So
Yeah.
I'd say if you guys get out and the weather cooperates a little bit, we're still a week away. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So not gonna throw it away quite yet, you know. I mean, and those boats down there are pretty good about letting letting you guys know that, hey man, this ain't gonna happen or whatever. But if they go out, it's because they think they can make it happen, and I'd say it's pretty good. Yeah, for sure.
By the way, perhaps not. We were on a 5-day trip, not this most recent one, but the one before, and we had horrible weather forecast. So bad that a guy actually walked into the office and said, I'm not going on this trip. And we had wide open fishing, rough weather, but wide open fishing every day. So, like Sam says, who knows? Christopher Navarro says that $20 is for Michael to buy himself wings or to buy Paulina
Some flowers.
Oh, some flowers. Thank God.
That's what the flower symbols.
Yes. Okay. Thank God, Chris. I thought, yes, you can't. That's not
for sale.
No,
No.
it's terrible, Chris. But now I see the flowers, so you're okay. Live free and die free. Try to get that 20, kid. What's a good setup for fishing a wahoo bomb?
You know, I like a Trinidad 20, and I fish a long rod, but an 8-foot rod, something rated 30 to 60, 40 to 80 is what I like to use, something pretty heavy.
All right, very good. Fantasid, is that what it is? I'm really starting to go downhill here. Let's go, Brandon. Yes.
Yeah, when you said Brandon. Yeah,
Yeah,
great show.
well, I didn't mean to get political here at all. Please. Kai Fish Killer. Years ago, my friend caught a white sea bass off the Goleta Pier.
That's awesome.
What's that supposed? That's not a nice comment. I don't think that's a good comment. What do you mean that's awesome? That's interesting. Or
That's interesting.
what did you say?
You said that.
Where's that pier at?
Goleta.
I'm guessing
It's in,
Goleta.
yeah, up in Santa
Yeah,
Barbara.
you know where the San Clemente Pier is? Oxnard. No, it's in San Clemente. What do you think it is?
He doesn't know where Goleta's at. Why would anybody know where Goleta's at?
Well,
It's not a popular big city, Phil.
where the hell is the Santa Monica Pier yet? In San Francisco? What are you talking about? All right, I'm getting a little giddy here now.
What's
I
wrong
need
with this
I need
guy?
some coffee.
Need some
All right.
wings.
Yeah, I do. All right, just kidding, Dan. Let's go, Brandon. Let's see. What's the name of the tackle store you're filming live at?
What is it?
Well, here's your cue. It's called, Jeff, it's called Island Fishing Tqckle. It's in the beautiful city of Carson, California, in the United States of America. And Sam De La Torre, well, I'll let him fill you in on their hours and phone number and everything else. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Sam,
Jeff,
take over.
We're over here in Carson, 21809 Avalon Boulevard. We're right off the 405 freeway between the 710 and the 110.
That was pretty quick, but there you go. Yeah, you should come down and visit Sam. It's great, Jeff. Good stuff. And new people watching the show. You got to
That's
love
good.
that,
Yep,
right?
yep,
Yes,
there you
I
go.
love it. Well over 100 people all night long tonight. Kai Fish Killer with Rockfish, he wants to know.
That's it, with rockfish.
Yeah, so we got to go back
No,
and
no,
look.
that he caught a white sea bass with rockfish.
He was fishing with rockfish for bait, or he was
Yes.
catching white sea bass and rockfish?
Oh, I think he's using them for bait.
I don't think it's. I don't know. Hey, Dan, do you know where the Goleta Pier is? I don't either.
No idea.
All right.
More than-
Kai Fish Killer. Now he's getting me. He's had enough of me. I can tell. Call me a smartass, everybody. All right. Hey, look at this. Marcoa 1202. Greetings from Ensenada,
Saludos.
Baja California. Yeah, saludos, hermano. Gracias de estar con nosotros. Ese chiquito está buscando una mujer ahí que se llama Paulina. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us in beautiful Ensenada. I just spent some time there, and hopefully I'll see you there next time. Kai Fish Killer, what about descending them with a needle?
You pop it.
Yeah. That doesn't work, I heard.
I
I
don't
mean, I
think-
heard that's dicey.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too, as far as the rest of their body, is the pressure. You know, so if they can't get down to that, it probably doesn't work. Now, maybe if you catch them real shallow, you know, to where maybe it's not as bad. That's a possibility, I guess. The other part of it too is if you're on a boat and you don't have one of these tied up, no matter how you try to release them, you're going to be in trouble. So these things work really good. I would say, you know, it's probably going to be a new part of our reality here, having one of these on the boat.
Yeah.
And it's not that big a deal. I think once
No.
you get used to it.
It's cool, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's we're all doing our part.
Mhm.
Chad Christopher, CU59, some Trejo donuts heading to the crew and anglers, courtesy of Chad, El Patron, Long Beach to Catalina. El Trejo donuts, have you ever heard
yeah,
of those?
great.
What are they?
They're donuts. They're
You
really
don't
good
know.
donuts.
No, you don't know.
Yeah.
Really? Is that Danny Trejo
Yeah.
guy? The
He makes them.
I thought he had taco joints.
He also has taco place. I'm gonna show up for that trip just to have some donuts.
Is Danny Trejo the guy that looks like he'd rip your head off? And-
Yeah.
He's got a donut joint now too?
Yeah.
Okay. All
He
right.
catches
Hey,
them on Rockfish.
I can't. Oh, yeah. In fact, the Trejo donut thing's on the Goleta Pier.
Yeah, it's on the Goleta Pier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know where that is, Dan? All right. This is steadily going downhill, let me tell you. All right.
Dan's gonna give you a black eye on the way.
Yeah,
out.
I know. Hey, Dan, remember, I brought you the hot dogs from Costco. Go easy on me. Where are we now? Let's see.
Kim.
Kim Herbert from Missouri. Kim, it's great to see you. Greetings from Missouri. Sharing my rockfish and halibut with our friends from the Indy trip. I'm looking for a 3,700 sized box just for terminal tackle, swivels, split rings, etc. Any idea, Sam?
Well, I mean, we have them here. There's all kinds of configurations, you know, where you can put in the different dividers and things like that. I mean, a 3,700 size box is typically the description of a certain tray size, you know. So I don't know if you're looking for a whole tackle bag or tackle box, that it uses that size tray, or just one single tray. But I would say just grab. There's a basic one where it has them going the long ways. Let me go grab one, and that'll probably do it for sure.
All right. Well, Sam is getting that. I will remind you that it's tax season, and you don't want to trust your taxes to some ordinary schmuck out there. You want to go with Tim Marquez from A Best Income Tax. You can reach him at 310-892-03. And if you have heating and or air conditioning needs, John Lopez is your man. He'll take care of everything. 626-901-4822. Kim Herbert was another guy in the Independence that made that trip so special with his daughter. Such a gentleman, Kim. Your daughter was lovely, man. I really enjoyed you guys, and I can't thank you for being so kind on the trip. Take it away, Sam.
So Kim, here's your basic 3,700 size box here. It's there's two basic sizes. I should have brought the other one, the 3,600 and the 3,700. This is the one that's going to be 14 inches long. It fits most standard larger tackle boxes. And with this guy here, it comes with a whole bunch of dividers. So you would basically just throw that in there wherever you need it to separate your all your terminal tackle, your split rings, like you were saying. The other way to go is a box that has this type of configuration where it'll have the two long rows like this, and then one larger kind of a compartment there. And some guys will use a box like this so that in this larger compartment they can put some tools in there, maybe a crimper, maybe a slit ring plier or something like that. So that's your basic two options. There is one where it's complete, all four, and you can put, I mean, a lot of stuff. Maybe it might even be too big. And then one where you can put your supplies and then your tools. So those are the two that I would go with.
All right. Very good. And once again, Kim, great to see you here. Alan Wise, Sam, which graph tech would you recommend for a 7/8 40-pound rod, the 30 to 40 or the 40 to 50?
That's a good question right there. You know, those rods from GraphTech are actually slightly underrated, and they have a really close line rating range. So sometimes it's kind of hard to choose. So what I'm going to ask you is kind of depending on what you wanted to do with it. If you wanted to be more of a live bait rod, I'd go with the lighter of the two, and it would do good with 40-pound test, no problem. The heavier one would probably handle maybe some yo-yo fishing or kind of more of a variety type rod, and also too maybe 40-pound test if you're going to be targeting big fish. So fish up to 100 pounds or something like that, I probably would go with the heavier of the two, but more of an all-around live bait rod, the smaller one, maybe Catalina, San Clemente, something like that. But if you wanted to do more with it, like yo-yo fish or fish bigger fish, I'd go with the heavier of the two.
All right, great show so far tonight. Thank you all for joining us. We deeply appreciate it. Hit that like button, share these videos with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. Morning briefing. Tomorrow morning, I'll have the white sea bass fishing, and who knows what else. I get messages all night long from crazy fishermen telling me what's going on, including the Bluefin tuna grounds down in Mexico Lindo, all around the world. So good stuff indeed. Excuse me. Live free, die free. Last year at Morro Bay, the bluefin were in the 150-foot water, hitting the blue rockfish we caught two in the boil.
There you go.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. So they eat the rockfish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
You didn't think that?
I know I did. Why the hell wouldn't they eat them? Eat anything.
That's what I was asking you.
What did I say?
You said no way.
I wasn't paying attention
You were
to
laughing
you.
at me.
Like, yeah, because I just was ignoring you, actually. I was thinking about, like, oh, man, it's going to be good to get some sleep tonight. Yeah.
Thinking about the wings.
You're
already.
like, all right, let's get back to this great show. What are your recommendations for white sea bass? Jeff wants to know. Jeff Brewer, rod and tackle.
It's 25-pound to 40-pound test is going to be your two basic sizes. Something 7.5 to 8 foot rod. Rod rated something in 20 to 50, 30 to 60. Your reel. Anything in that kind of medium to smaller size, but it can be something like a 25 narrow size reel, like your Fathom or a Saltist 35 or Shimano 16 or 20 size. That'd be kind of the size of reels that you would want to have. 65-pound braid, and like I said, 25 on one and maybe 40-pound on the other.
All right, very good. Does Trocar make a Yahoo twist hook?
They don't.
No.
They don't.
No.
So I think he's asking about that Aki twist, which is the that style of hook we're talking about. I think they make some hooks in there that might work for that. I was trying to remember when I saw that there's a hook that they might make, but for right now, I would just go with the tried and true. Those owner Aki twists, you can't beat them. Gamakatsu does make one, and they call it an octopus hook. It's a very similar hook, and then Mustad makes one that's called a big gun, and similar size is the same kind of deal.
Although Sam caught his largest yellowfin tuna using a trocar hook.
Yep,
Great memory, huh?
that's a great hook.
Yeah, is it?
It's an awesome hook.
Yeah, I know, man. You
the
just
best
look at
hook.
them; they look
I mean,
studly.
geez, those
Oh, you
hooks.
really like them?
I do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See this one right here? That's a trocar.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ouch. Oh, they're
Maybe
sharp.
Maybe that's the Yahoo twist hook he was looking for.
That's it.
That's it right there.
I only have one though. Though you think that tuna 95 grand in Taiwan was expensive? Wait till you hear what this thing's going for. All right, let's see. Kai Fish Killer learned that 9174 mustads from Pat Cavagna, great fisherman. Not good because the hook is not smooth and squarish. Rounded hook wire prevents the fish from spinning off. Switched hooks caught 4 white sea bass, 1 halibut.
All righty. Yeah, I mean that 9174 hook. I mean, I've used it for a lot of fly lining. Growing up, I've done pretty good with it. As far as it spinning off, maybe the rockfish or something like that would be something that you might be concerned with. But if you got 4 sea bass on it and 1 halibut, that's a pretty good hook.
Yeah, definitely. Southern Hallie. Phil, do you have an email address I can get in contact with you? I have a ton of clothes, toys, etc. I would like to donate. Thank you for helping out those in need. God bless you for that. No, hey, we're not doing anything without your help. Yeah, for sure. You can do friedmanadventures@gmail.com or walkwithphil@gmail.com. Or my phone number, you're more than welcome to text me, please. 657-227-6459. If you need me to repeat those, I'll do it again here when you're ready to rock and roll. Weather is going to be pretty spitty, says Rob S. Since we have children here, so
Yes.
spitty. It's going to be very spitty. All right, Steve Bermudez, man, he's all over this thing tonight.
Shoo.
Zinc and lead. The zinc puts hardness in the lead. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Do you care about it? Talking about?
I think he was asking the guy that was asking about what the heavy jigs were made out of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's Steve
that
Bermuda?
was 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, Steve just asked about the trocar. He wants to know if they're on yahoo.com.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
What are you making fun of Steve for?
I'm not making fun of Steve. I
Pick
saw
on- you
Steve
always
at
wanna pick on
the
somebody. Yeah.
I saw Steve over at the club that I spoke
Now I
at, the
know why-
Fibbers Club.
Now I know why Steve said what he said about.
Boy,
it.
I wish that kid could go out. Can you go out there and get me a Snapple? Or is that door locked?
Yeah, he can just turn that.
You know how to do it? Here, go get me a Snapple out of the back. I'll kill you if you don't give me one. My throat's going down the drain. You can figure it out. And if not, Mackie will help you. Yeah, Steve, I spoke at the Fibbers Club.
Mm.
That was they're great people.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
No.
Yeah. You know what my wife said? I told her I was going to the Christian fishing clubs and it's in a church. She told me, be careful of relampagos,
Yeah.
lightning bolts. That's what she said. All right, let's go back to our friend Ren. If you could get any rail rod for an international 20 Vizix, 130 for nighttime bluefin, what would it be? I'm upgrading from Graphtec 100 to 130, maybe lighter. Sam, what do you say?
I would say that Viper from United Composites is a strong one. CalStar 775, 2XH or 3XH or something like that. There's quite a few out there. Even, Rain Shadow has a couple good ones as well. There's a lot of good rods out there. Seeker, 2x4 is a good one too. I don't know if there's like the dream rod that, like it's not like a Ferrari that like, oh man, I always wanted one of those things that are unattainable. The rods aren't really like that. Once you get into these nicer rods, they're all about $600, $700. But there's a couple good options, and that CalStar, Seeker, United Composites, I think you can't go wrong with any of those three right there.
All right, very good. How about we go to JC?
JC,
You know
that's the man.
JC. JC's the best. Phil, Sam, have you been fishing at Cancun or Playa del Carmen?
I have not.
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, so
What can you tell us about that?
I can tell you that it was a very memorable trip because we were shooting a TV show. I can't remember who it was with, but I do know that Brian Shaw was there,
Oh,
and
wow.
B. Shaw was going to fish for bonefish in the surf. And so it might have been like the first night. His wife Nikki and myself and Brian. This I think in my drinking days, and so we were drinking tequila and really going at it. And it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was time to get some sleep because we had to be down on the beach at 6 o'clock in the morning. And Brian looks over at me and said, "This was when Kobe and Shaq had this big fight in the locker room." And he goes, "You want to know the real story on the Shaq Kobe thing?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Hell yes, I
Yeah.
want to know." So then that went, I'm not saying anything, but that went on till like 4 in the morning. So
Oh.
I'm down there at the beach. I got up and Brian's not there. And the freaking, I'm not sure, was it ESP? I can't remember. The guy is like chewing me out because Brian's not there because I was drinking with him all night.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's a freaking adult. What are you yelling at me for? I'm here. So anyway, it turned into a funny thing, actually. Bone fishing, we were not too successful in, but we went offshore. We trolled around a little bit, and I think we caught some wahoo and maybe some yellowfin tuna. It was beautiful because, as I remember, I think it's the ruins of Tulum that are somewhere. Yeah, and you're trolling along, you can see that, and whoa, is that cool or what? That is really, really cool. So, anyway, that's my Playa del Carmen story with Brian Shaw, the assistant coach of the Los Angeles Clippers right now. A finer guy you will never, ever meet. Let's see. Kai Fish Killer. Yes, rockfish for bait caught white sea bass.
I told you.
On the Goleta Pier. I was
tried to tell
wrong.
you.
Hey, Dan, you know where the Goleta Pier is? He still doesn't know. All right, why don't you Google it while you're sitting out there? Carlos Laguna says, ¿Cómo qué?
¿Cómo qué?
¿Cómo qué?
No sé.
¿De qué estamos hablando? What are we talking about? Everardo Rojas. Sam, is there a best moon phase for white sea bass?
Is there?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
4 days after the full,
4
they
days
bite
after-
like
yeah.
hell.
A
We're
week
coming
after
up
the
on the
full.
full right now, actually, and they're biting.
Yeah.
Now they're going to shut off, and then they're going to bite like after
Yeah.
this.
2
We
weeks
got this
before the
wind
full
to deal
and
with.
2 weeks after the full.
Yeah, and then right on the full,
And then right on the full.
and then after the full.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Unless it's windy.
yeah. Then
North
you
to south.
then
and
it's good on the
south
full.
swell.
But it's
Yeah.
never good on the full
Yeah.
when it's not windy.
What about then that's in April.
Are we saying FULL or FOOL? Which one? Full moon?
Yeah, full moon.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Tucker, I remember him telling me he likes 3-4 days after the full moon.
He can't be wrong.
They bite. He can't. Man, I'm telling you.
Except this one's going to be windy.
Yes, I know. All right, Christopher Navarro. Sam, would Thursday around noon be a good time to show me how to crimp bluefin leaders? I'll bring the donuts too.
Come on down.
Chris Navarro. Hey, I'll be here. Are those prime rib donuts? Raul, Sam, I have a Torque 25N and want to pair up with an IC rod. Recommend something to me, please. Raul is
UC
pleading
rod.
with you.
UC rod, I think he's talking about. I'd probably put it on a towel fish, a GP80 towel fish. That'd probably be perfect pairing for that. Now that reel there is pretty versatile, so you can fish. I mean, a lot of different things with it. That's kind of a rod that I would pair it up with to have the most versatility. But you can go heavier on that thing. You can go up to, you know, maybe like a Terminator if you wanted and fish some really heavy stuff. If you didn't need a whole lot of line, and then you could even go lighter. Maybe even go with that monster. You know, but that towel fish I think would fit pretty good with it.
All right, hit that like button, everybody. Thanks for being with us tonight. We deeply appreciate it. Kim Herbert from Missouri was on our 5-day trip. Stellar human being. I've been looking at the Plano Edge tray. Are the individual compartments or the divider the way to use it?
You know, I remember seeing those Edge trays. I think they're pretty good. I don't have one here to show you, but to me, I think one of these is plenty good. One of the things that you might want to do is get a hold of some smaller Ziploc bags, and then it'll make your organization a little bit more efficient. You know, sometimes some of the boxes that the crimps come in, or the little bags that the split rings come in, won't fit. You know, widthwise in these things here too, so they end up sideways and not just fit. You know, just not fitting too good. So one of the things that I do is, you know, we have a lot of different products that we bag up to sell. And so we have these smaller Ziploc bags. And what I'll do is I'll cut out the packaging that the product will come in to fit inside there, and then I'll put the product in that, so it makes it so it fits in here, and you can put a way more in there.
All right, excellent, very good. Sam, do you carry David Alcantar? Well, so you have tungsten jigs.
I don't right now. I think that
What are they exactly?
so tungsten is a more it's a metal that's more dense than lead, and so that
Sounds expensive.
it is
Yeah.
very expensive. These jigs, even though they're like maybe 100 gram or 120 gram, they're going to cost like $40 or something like that. And so, but the whole idea about them is that, especially you get into some of this foamer bites, is that you can cast those things so far, and they're tiny. So I forget how much more dense they are, but they're definitely, when you look at them, they look like they're maybe 2/3 the size of a lead jig.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they're just as heavy or heavier, and
just
they
as
go
heavier.
farther.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mhm.
All right,
So-
very good. Kai Fish Killer got the fish after switching to standard round wire hook. He's the guy with the rockfish and the white
Ah.
Seabass on the Goleta Pier.
That's it.
Yeah, very good. Scott Buchert. Here he is, Scotty Buchert, our friend from San Diego. What is an acid wrapped rod, and are they good for porpoise? He's fishing for porpoise?
That's
Well,
preferred.
Scott, no wonder
Preferred.
they won't hire you on any of the boats down there. He wants to know what an acid wrapped
Yeah.
rod is and what the purpose of it is.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so the main purpose of it is to kind of two reasons. One is in jig when you're doing some jigging, it is
Sam is
so
going to
that-
find an acid wrapped rod for you right now, everybody. He's on a little treasure hunt, or what do you
Treasure-
call it? A scavenger hunt. Here he is.
Scavenger hunt, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys look there, the acid wrap rod is going to have the guides start out on top and then end up on the bottom. And the whole idea is that when you're jigging, sometimes when you use, especially when you're using really heavy jigs, I can't really do it here obviously because I don't have a rod, a reel tied on with a rod. But sometimes when you're doing that jigging, as you pop it up, a little bit of slack can be created, and the idea is that it can wrap around your tip. If you happen to hook a fish right at that moment before you're able to free it, it can be pretty bad for your rod. So that's one thing, is that if that does happen on this rod, it'll just basically slide right off. The other thing too is that if you're pulling real hard, it pulls down more on the bottom of the rod versus on the top of the rod, and it helps center the rod a little bit as you're fighting the fish. But I don't know if that's as big a concern as the tip wrapping thing. And even the tip wrapping thing is somewhat, one of those things that I haven't really ever seen happen, but in theory, that could happen.
Yeah. Are you going to answer Scott's other question?
What was the other
He
question?
wants to know how to fish for porpoise
Yeah.
for some reason.
Well, you got to have an acid wrap rod.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
They come right to the boat.
All right, Scott, there you have it. We got you tuned up now. Carlos says, oh my God, no battery on my phone. Nice info, maestros.
Yeah, maestro.
And he's losing his battery on his phone. Carlos, you can always watch the archive. Halibut Man. The halibut bite is still on fire, guys, in the 60 to 100 foot range. He fishes locally. I was out on Saturday and saw a couple of big ones. So there's big fish around.
There you
And
go.
I think there's going to be a lot more to come. Scott Buchert is back. Wants to know when your next trip is.
I'm not sure right now. We're actually working on some lighting. You can't see it behind us this way here, but half the store is kind of looks like we're trying out some different lighting, and we actually started it and it didn't work out, so we kind of had to put it on pause and got to order some more lights. And I'm actually still trying to figure it all out. But I'm going to probably order some this week, get this project done. But until I get this store really put back together, I'm not really thinking about a whole lot of fishing right now.
Okay, I don't notice it at all. It doesn't seem, you even said you were worried it might be too dark, but I don't. Do you notice
Yeah.
it? He doesn't notice anything back there. All right, very good. Excellent question, Scott. You really are keeping the show moving tonight. Christopher Navarro, I've got my brother Sean watching from Clear Lake. Hey, Sean, how are you? He's new to live podcast. He's trying to ask a question. Hope he figures out how quickly. Love the show, guys. Thank you so much, Christopher. If he doesn't figure it out, you can ask it for him. Halibut Man, when's the next surf fishing meetup? Michael Limon is itching to go fishing. Hey, Mitchell, we were going to do it this weekend, but it sounds like the weather is going to go to spit. So we'll hold off and maybe, check tides and check all that stuff and figure it all out. Scott Buchert, he is really chiming in tonight.
Jeez.
He must not be working tonight. Tell Dan to do something instead of sitting on his butt. Boy, he's been picking on you all day. I told you what he said. I won't repeat that because we'll get thrown off YouTube. But yeah, I mean, wow. N6 is back. That is Steve Bermudez, who's a great guy, no matter how much fun you make of the poor guy. Fiber uses zinc and lead roofing material for lightning bolt protection for visitors like Phil. Oh, there you go. Well, I mentioned to the crowd, I said, Steve's never been hit by a lightning bolt, so I'm good here. You know, if he hadn't been hit. All right, Christopher Navarro. I had a deckhand pin on half a fillet of rockfish and sent it down for ling cod. It worked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See, that's something we've done before. Yeah.
all the time.
Not sure if it's legal anymore, but
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah,
sure.
you would fillet the fish and then kind of cut the tail off, so you have the tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh, any guy that decked on a boat or anything, you knew
Anybody,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it worked really good. In fact, caught big old bokashi and everything else. When we commercial fished, we would literally sometimes like you go to the west end of Catalina and try to make squid, but you're kind of on a time crunch, so you need to make it.
Mhm.
You have no bait now. We didn't bring any bait, so
Oh,
it's
wow.
like drop a jig down. Okay, we got one, got another one. Got I can remember one time my brother and I go, dude, I'm not gonna fillet a red and use it for bait. Come
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
catch something like a bokashi. And then you just strip it out and then put it on the hooks. It never comes off, and it worked fine. So, yeah, I think that does work. It certainly worked in my commercial fishing days. Kai Fish Killer. That was in regards to the 3 white sea bass, 1 halibut switching to round wire helped.
Yeah.
I'm so
There was-
confused on whether this is the Goleta Pier or somewhere else, but
Same thing.
Kai
yeah.
Fish Killer, this is hey Omar! There he is, Sam. Every time you make fun of Omar, he shows up. Omar, you are my man. I remember that hug I gave you out in front of the Long Beach Convention Center. Oh yeah, that was another Omar, right? All right, Omar, a warm greeting to the best show out there. I love this guy. My rod and reel were pulled into the ocean by some drive-by dolphins. Any tips on how to salvage my now squeaky spinning reel?
Wow.
Is that true?
Sounds like it, yeah.
Well, Omar, that's a cool story, actually. You got to be more specific.
And yeah, I mean, the bigger question is how do you get it back? That'd
Yeah.
be pretty crazy, yeah.
Yeah, that is wild, man.
But yeah, I mean, as far as trying to fix the reel, you got to bring it in. I can take a look at it. Hopefully, it's something easy to fix. Sometimes those reels, when they get submerged like that and drug around by a bunch of dolphin, usually they're not in too good a shape. But
No wonder Scott wants to fish for porpoise.
I know
He's mad at them.
it's a theme.
He's probably had a bad
Yeah.
experience like Omar. Okay, Omar, thanks, man. Good to see you here. Ruben A., good evening, gentlemen. I'm planning on going surf fishing and jetty fishing tomorrow out of Seal Beach and Long Beach. What are your suggestions for success? All right, well, see, we're going to have a grunion run tomorrow night. So you kind of want to match the hatch. If you're going to throw an artificial, it'd probably be a Lucky Craft. I'm guessing that cherry berry jig works really, really good. Those fish are already feeding on grunion because grunion stage up the night before. In fact, I've gotten so many messages. I don't know if you've been hearing this, that the bird activity up in the Santa Monica Bay off Redondo. Jim Stadler, remember the guy that was in here that one night? Old
I think
guy?
so, yeah,
Looked
yeah,
like
yeah,
he was
yeah.
about ready, to.
Yeah.
Yeah, great guy. He said he's never in all that he's lived there his whole life. He's never seen this. He said there's just massive birds hitting the water. So probably going to be a boomer grunion run,
Yeah.
man. It's probably going to be a good one. So I think that's something you could do, or you could fish bait. And like bloodworms are super good. Ghost shrimp are good. We've seen some pretty good Corbina fishing actually in the short water. So, like a 1/4 ounce sliding egg sinker, light line, 6 pound. Floral works really, really well, and that should be good. I haven't been down to the beach for a couple of days because I've been off somewhere else, but I think it's going to be good weather and should be just fine. Bar perch fishing's been pretty good. They'll bite on that Lucky Craft, but also like that chrome crocodile or a Castmaster. Sam has them here. Eddie Leland used to like to fish the gold ones. All of those should work good for you. I would just find that window 2 hours before the high till 2 hours after the high should be good. And I'm guessing high tide is going to be like probably 10 in the morning, something like that. That would be my guess, but check it out. I'm guessing that high tide tomorrow night is going to be 10, like for the grunion run, the first day of it. So yeah, you want to be there 2 hours before to 2 hours after, and you should be in great shape. We really hope you do well. So let me know how you do. Sean is back on for 5 days.
That's
So
good.
Scott Bucher. So I actually know what he's talking about. Sean Hardigan, his roommate, is back on the Independent. Sean's working on
Okay.
the Independents now.
Okay.
So, Sam, Steve Bermudez, do you have real parts or where I can buy real parts for a Kuma Cortez Z 5 CS a reel?
I don't have the parts here for that reel, unless they're just bearings or drags. I might have some stuff like that. But Kuma's pretty good about getting parts. So I mean, you might try calling them. And I think they have a number on their website. So just try calling them up. They're pretty good about it. If you know what to get, if you don't know what to get, and you need to bring in the reel for us to kind of diagnose it first, we can try to help you out with that. But you should be able to get the parts themselves from Okuma.
David Alcantar, can't wait for the next surf fishing meetup. Me either. We love them. In fact, today I was looking at it and the weather kind of screwed it up, David. Have been a few times since your seminar and had a blast. Yeah, let's do it again. It'll be here maybe a week from this weekend. Once again, I want to look at the tides and check the weather, and then we'll definitely do it. We're going to keep doing them too, so we'll keep that rocking and rolling. Kai Fish Killer, this is for Dan. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Chris,
We're going to get to the bottom of all this. My brother, Sean, has arthritis in his hands. What's a good reel handle for that? And good fishing waterproof gloves.
gloves.
Sam?
I don't know about waterproof gloves. I think all the gloves that we have will probably your hands will get wet underneath them if but there's not you shouldn't have to worry about your hands getting wet a whole lot unless you're trying to catch a bait or something like that. But other than that, I mean, yeah, I'm not really sure if they need to stay dry. Fishing might be a tough experience. As far as a handle, I'm not really sure as far as what would be good in particular for someone that has arthritis. The best I can tell you is maybe try to go as big as you can, but I really don't know. I mean, I'd say you probably have to try a couple different things before you can find what works for you. Because I'm sure arthritis is different for different people. As far as how it hurts them or what limitations they may have. But just off the top of my head, I would venture to say you want to probably go as big as you can as far as the knob itself.
All right, very good. Tony says, hey, Phil, what happened to the slow pitch jig rockfish trip?
Yeah, what
I
happened?
turned that over to Sam, and
Yeah.
he dropped the ball on it, Tony.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Hey, May 9th on the El Patron, you can come out and slow pitch all day long. I know several guys that'll be doing it. Not everybody.
So that's it
Or
right there. That's where
May the
trip is.
23rd.
Yep.
Yeah, slow pitch on the El Patron with the Phil Frieman or whatever. What is it called?
Slow pitch
Freeman
special.
Adventures. Yes.
Slow pitch special, right?
And then May the 31st, we're going to be on the Island Spirit.
For sure.
Michael's
that's gonna
getting
be-
promoted that day, but we'll be there with Paulina. And you can slow pitch your little life away on the Island Spirit, and we will film you doing it. So, yeah, Tony, we didn't get it together, but you're welcome to come out on any one of those 3 trips and have some fun. All right, Kai Fish Killer. All right, he's going to settle this once and for all because we're
Okay.
confused on whether this catch took place on the Goleta Pier,
And the porpoise.
and I'm not sure where else it was going on, but here it goes. 2 different incidents. The white sea bass halibut was the hook switch with Pat when he ran the Pacific Dawn, but the rockfish turned into white sea bass was another fishing time.
There you go.
Boom! Thank you, Kai Fish Killer. And then he adds Goleta Pier.
Yep.
What do you mean, yep?
That's right.
What does that mean? All right, Chris Navarro, this week's coupon password, Sand Slinger XXX.
Could be.
Yeah, why not?
Could be.
That's a good one. Yeah. Paulina! We'll leave the XXX off, though. All right, Omar, it was awesome seeing you at the Bart Hall show. Hey, this is the Omar.
It could
This
be.
is the guy that, yeah,
This
Omar,
is
there's
the-
2 different Omar. So every time I see the other guy, I tell him, hey, it was great seeing you at the Bart Hall show.
He says, "I've never
And
seen
he's
you
like,
before."
I've never seen you before. Thank God you showed up and you finally made me. Sam called me a liar. The dolphin had been paddling by Redondo Pier
Parading.
and take every line in their way while they do it. Well, I never knew that. That's crazy. So they get in there really close, it sounds like. All right, very good. Steve Bermudez is back for the 213 anglers this Saturday, April 27th, a kids fishing derby at MacArthur Park. Free bait prepared by Dan Hernandez, Youth Foundation volunteers, free rods and reels, usage by the Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Pretty good.
What does that mean, usage?
What does that mean? What does
Yeah.
usage mean? That means that if you go down there, you can
That's
use
an
it for
odd
free.
way to put it.
Why is it odd?
You can come down and you'll have usage on the rod. Who the hell says that?
He just said
You
it
can
right
use
now.
a fishing rod. Why would you say usage? That is a very odd way to put it.
Maybe
I
he's-
don't care what you
Maybe
say.
he's doing it.
That is an odd way to say
Maybe
it.
he's using the
Hey,
speaker.
Dan, come on over. Don't worry about bringing any rods. You can have all the usage you want. He'd look at me like I was nuts. What
Would
is it? Yeah, he's like usage. What is Bermudez? What are you
Jesus.
talking about? All right.
That wasn't. That was.
All right, yeah, I am, man. What you put in this? Huh? All right, Omar, we managed to catch my
You know what?
line with another rod. Hold
Steve
it now. We're
Bermudez
talking
was
about the
right.
porpoise.
Oh,
Yes. Omar, we managed to catch my line with another rod and pull it up. Pier, which was very
Yeah.
lucky considering it was already
Wow.
dark. That's wild,
That
man.
is
That's a
wild.
great story. All right, Chris Navarro. Steve, you know I'm kidding. Island Fishing Tqckle, Grunion Run Shore Fishing Event. Chris
Yeah.
Navarro. That's another one you dropped the ball
I
on.
know.
Man, oh man. Rick, farewell. Hey, Rick, great having you here with us. Have you ever hooked dolphin, porpoise that eat your live bait? Happened to me once in 40 years fishing for a yellowtail in the Santa Monica Bay. I have not. I've heard of it
Yeah,
happening.
I've heard of it happening. but
Not very frequently.
No.
Yeah, like you said, Rick, you've been fishing your whole life, and it happened one time. They're pretty smart about that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They don't eat the jigs or any of that stuff. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, well, I mean, they do have a bigger brain than most fish. Most
Yeah.
fish don't have much of a brain, but
Yeah.
Dan says they have a bigger brain than me. That's true. Look at who I hang out with, for God's
know.
sakes. Yeah, Omar, catch a fish and eat for a day. Catch a rod and reel and eat forever. I love it, Omar. That is freaking awesome. Doug El Sueño says hello from San Diego. Doug, it's great to see you here. I think Steve is reporting the same thing. Oh wait, or did he just bring plenty of? He's reporting the same thing. He just said
He just said bring plenty of quarters.
quarters. Okay,
Park
so
in
yes,
Ensenada.
go to the Dan Hernandez 213 Anglers this Saturday, April 27th at MacArthur Park, and you'll get all the usage you want. And bring the quarters for parking, because if you don't get enough usage, you can use the quarters for more usage.
Yeah.
What?
Extra use.
Yeah. What do you? Okay. Very good. That's one thing in my life I've been missing is usage. I really have always wanted it.
In the search for it.
Cue ball. Omar, I saw that happen last year offshore on a tuna trip. Girl's rod got knocked overboard, and one guy jigging on the bow snagged it. $1,200 setup.
Jeez.
Lucky. Yeah, that
Very
is
lucky.
so cool. Kai Fish Killer, I found that a large, round, soft knob helps with the hands.
There you go, Chris.
Yeah, there you go, Chris. Very nice. Matthew Tamayo. Hey, Matt, how are you? Good evening, Phil. Could you give us some pointers for what tides to look for when you surf fish? So, Matt, if you're fishing for halibut or corvina, you can catch those on the low. There is no doubt about it. You want to kind of look for that pooled up water, if that's at all possible. But, fish like moving water, okay? So they like that moving water. That's why you want to be fishing 2 hours before the incoming until 2 hours after the high tide, and then it's going to be outgoing. And sometimes they bite on that incoming tide. Sometimes they bite on the outgoing. Like right when you get to the middle of that, sometimes it's all slack and everything stops and nothing's biting. And then it starts to flow outward again and the fish start to bite. So that time period, let's say the high tide's at 8 a.m., you'd want to fish from 6 to 10. Okay? 6 to 10. You're on that 4-hour window that is really rewarding and good. And anytime you can line up a high tide with either sunrise or sunset, whew, there's nothing better, man. Yeah, it's magical. So you have a high tide at 6 at night, something like that, whew, and the sunset's going to be at 7-ish. you're going to be golden. So if you can line those two things up, those are just two
How do you
things that
line
will
that up?
really. You just that's up to the big guy upstairs, man. He lines it up for you.
Okay.
Then you read about it, and then you find out, and you have to have porpoise in life to pull
Yes,
that off.
porpoise.
If you don't have a porpoise in life, then you're screwed. I'll tell you that right now. Carlos says, "Okay, Phil, how much if I hook a whitefish, can I bring them in fillet, or they have to be a full fish?" As I was told by a friend, I fillet might get a citation. So, Carlos, you can fillet those, but you have to leave the skin on there so they can be identified. And the fillet length, if there is a size limit, I don't believe there is one on whitefish. In fact, I know there's not. But for example, if it's a calico bass, that fillet has to be X amount of inches long. All right. So if you're a crappy filleter, you're going to be in trouble, So you can do it, but you got to leave a size. I would just leave all the skin on it, and you can pull it off when you get home. So there you go. All right. And Steve Bermudez, if you don't mind people making fun of you, try using dishwashing gloves that are insulated. They're long sleeve protection from the water splash. Who would make fun of that? I wouldn't. I'm not the kind of person that would make fun of
Right. Not in,
anything
not in
like
front
that.
of them, at least.
Not you.
Yeah. Oh, hey, calm down out there. Man, these guys are brutal tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Raul Alvarez. Phil, no piss and fun comments tonight?
Yeah,
Yes.
you've been missing out.
Somebody had a piss. Was that you? His piss and fun broke after. Did you even fish with it? Was that the first time down in in Ensenada?
Oh, no.
Did you fish with it one time and it broke? He fished with his piss and he was trying to have piss and fun, and that was it, man. One time. And I don't know if his wife put a stop to it or what, but that was it. Piss and fun reels from China, right?
I'm
Some
sure
guys,
they are.
Robert
Could be.
Graber loves his piss and fun.
He does.
He does. He has an electric one
Mhm.
that has served him well, he says. But here, Mackie, he
Didn't
had
serve him
all
well.
kinds of fun. He started trying to do the whole piss and fun thing, and that was it. There you are, Raul. How's that? And Steve Bermuda says, Steve says he's too old to have piss and fun.
He is.
Nah, Steve, you're never too old to have piss and fun. Come on. Halibut man, usage. What are we talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah. You don't know? What's wrong with
Carry
you?
on, yeah.
Come down to the beach, and the usage is on me. Don't worry about it, Halibut man. We got you. Steve Bermudez, usage meaning you don't. Boy, this is getting out of control. Usage
Yeah, sure.
meaning, yeah. Where is it now? You don't get to take it home and keep it. Oh, so the usage is only at the lake, or
Yeah.
You want out of this show. I can see that. All right. Thank you, Steve. That's excellent. Omar, is it easier or more difficult fishing live bait when there are lots of bait in the water nearby? It's
Interesting.
a good question.
Yeah. I don't think it's, it really depends on what the fish and what they want to bite, but I could say that there are times when there's just a lot of bait around and it seems like the fish maybe aren't as eager to get the bait from the boat. If you get into an area where there hasn't been a lot of live bait and the boat pulls up and chums, that fish just kind of wakes up. And I've seen it the opposite too. So I don't think it's a steadfast rule one way or another, but I think definitely for sure it can affect it at times.
All right, very good. At night when and we have a theory on this, which is probably completely wrong, but grunion runs, Patrick and I, especially Patrick, but Philip's out there too, love to fish on the grunion run. Go down there, you pin a bait on, you toss it out, and you get bit all the time.
Oh, for sure.
And you're thinking to yourself, though, look at how many grunion are
Yeah.
there. Why? And we came up with your bait, is on a leader and it can't go, so it's kind of stuck there. And these fish come in and all those grunion go like that, and your bait is just sitting there.
Oh man, yeah.
And it may not be the liveliest one, but it's just, and they just
Could be.
big yellowfin croaker, leopard sharks. Man, we just hammer them. So I think it's closed season right now, so you're not allowed to reach down and pin on a live one and throw it out there right now. You have to wait until the season is open, which I think is now going to be September, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll have to check on that, but I think so. All right. Let's see. Christopher Navarro. What day is next week's show? Sam?
It's either going to be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday.
There you are, Chris. That's as good as we can do it. We have to work this around something that is far more important, and that is the kids' baseball. And I mean that sincerely because my kids went through baseball, and it's good, man. It's good stuff. This
Mhm.
guy's always trying to
Get
jump out of
of
his
it.
baseball stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
so he can go fishing. And I highly recommend he does not do that. Fish with Ish says your buddy Sips. He's talking about
Yeah.
SD Fish and
Mikey.
Sips. Mikey, he likes to fish with the Piss and Fun.
Uh,
He was fishing with the Piss and Fun on the
yeah,
Pursuit.
he had the electric reel on.
Yeah. All right. Very good. And did it work for him? I didn't
It
watch the
did.
show, so there you are. Cue ball. I guess it's just Mackie. I had trouble with it.
Mhm.
We will fish the squid beds every year, but yeah, there's such a thing as too much bait around, like 10. What does it say?
10 pounds.
10 pounds of tuna crabs inside your tuna. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought there was some tuna crabs starting to wash up on the beaches.
A
I
little
heard.
bit. A little bit. I think some of those tuna that they've been caught have had
Yeah, they have.
crabs in them.
I
too,
have
yeah.
definitely heard that.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, I mean, I don't see another question here, and I know what you're thinking.
Let's go.
Yeah, I know. You're thinking, let's go. But we just got another question. Because, hey, look at Michael Limon. He sighs. He's angry.
He sighs.
Omar, we want more questions. Keep them coming. What's the best use of offset hooks? Does it truly make a difference?
So yeah, the idea for an offset hook is that there's more hook exposure. So if you think about it, if you're looking down straight at the hook, the point's going to be off to the side. So when you go to set the hook, the point of the hook is going to be able to find flesh easier. So that's the idea of an offset hook. It's better hook set for it.
All right. Now, Sam, I know what you're thinking. If we ended the show right now, we'd probably get better usage tonight.
Yes, the best.
And usage is important, as you know, especially at your age.
Mhm.
When you start getting up there, you need to have usage.
all the usage. you
Oh, we
get.
got another question. I screwed around too much. Fish with Ish. Is 15-pound line too heavy on the surf for Corvina, or do I have to go down to 6? So if you're bait fishing, yeah, it's a little heavy. If you're fishing a lure, and lures are not that great for Corvina, once in a while, they'll bite them. I fish 20-pound when I'm throwing a lure. But bait, yeah, what do you, 6-pound, right?
6
Some
pound is
guys
about the
fish
heaviest.
4.
Yeah, that'd probably be the heaviest I would use. In fact, I use 6 pound pretty standard on any, even like smaller lures, just fishing for yellowfin croaker, stuff like that. If you're really targeting Corvina specifically, I'd say 4 pound fluorocarbon. I mean, you really want to be stealthy with those things.
All right. Now, Sam, I know what you're thinking. There's no questions up there. Look at Michael. And if I just end the show right now, we're done. So what should I do?
Whatever you want to do, it's your show.
All right. No, it's our show. What are you talking
Yeah.
about? Tackle Shop Confessions.
Don't put it on
It's
me.
not my show.
Don't put it on
It's
me.
our show.
You want to leave and you want me to say, let's go.
Hey, we got another
But
question. I'm sorry.
I'll hang out.
We got another question.
It's fine.
Why do people use spinners? Ruben A.
Catch trout.
Yeah.
spinner
What
baits.
else? What else? Why else do they do it? Bass?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
While surf
Oh,
fishing.
so yeah.
That's a good question.
Why do you think they use them?
I think you can cast easier with
Way
it. and-
easier.
yeah, way
A
easier.
lot of times you're dealing with wind, you know.
Yeah.
And casting into the wind, it's just so hard to do as it is, you know. So spinning reel, a lot of things you're going to be casting is lighter weight, like a Lucky Craft. It'd be almost impossible to cast it on a bait caster or a conventional reel.
Yeah, I
Almost
see people
impossible.
struggling with that all the
There's
time.
no way. Yeah, you're just not going to have success.
Yeah, there you go. That's the answer. I was when we were catching all those sand bass down in Ensenada. Louis said, "Why don't you leave that one rod rigged up? I think with a yellowtail lure on it. Grab that spinner." And I was like, and you know, I even have that. And then I grabbed the spinner,
Yeah.
and it was great. You know, I was catching bass after bass. But I took the
Snob.
frickin'. I finally came to the conclusion that these rods, from my experience, fish really good in the rod holder. So I just put it in the rod holder on the bottom with 2 lures on it, and boom, man, that freaking rod just like, you're like, oh, I'm bit again. Another 2 fish. Chris Navarro says, good night, guys. Sam, why don't you give everybody the pitch about this beautiful tackle store that we feel so at home in, and other people who come here will feel exactly the same way.
So we're in the city of Carson, 21809 Avalon Boulevard. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. Phone number here is 310-707-1205. You can reach me by calling there during our business hours, or you can get a hold of me on social media at Island Fishing Tqckle, Instagram, or Facebook.
Chris Navarro wants to know the $20 that he sent that you're never going to get your hands on anyway. Is that for chicken wings or for Paulina's flowers?
That's a hard one.
That's a hard one, he says. Yeah.
Chicken wings.
Whoa, poor Paulina. No, you just screwed yourself out of that. Let me tell you. You throw some dame over for chicken wings
Couple
and you're
chicken wings,
dead. All right. Hey, thanks, everybody. It's been a lot of fun, Sam. Mackie, some of the guys you don't see here. Of course, Dan Lightfoot and Michael Limon. And thank you to all of you for being here with Sam and I again tonight for another edition of Tackle Shop Confessions. I'll be here with the morning briefing tomorrow morning, bright and early. We'll have more content throughout the day. Sam, thanks again, my friend.
Got it, buddy.
All right. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Good night.
Woo!